The Horrible Gamers podcast may contain content not suitable for all ages. Listener discretion is advised.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Horrible Gamers podcast, show number 452, being recorded on March the 18th, 2024. I'm one of your hosts, Jesus Gonzalez, also known as Jesus Rocks. Today I'm joined by my co-host from the West Coast, the best coast, Gunny Chief. Henley Merrill is back. Welcome back, Henley. Welcome.
Hey guys, it's good to be back. I'm glad everybody got last week's episode. I'm happy. Let's get some gaming going.
Happy?
Gaming talk.
Okay. And from Little Ohio, the Mayo, Steve Willier, surviving all the tornadoes. Welcome back, Steve.
Hey, what's up? Yes, surviving all the tornadoes.
Welcome.
That was kind of neat. Got to see some storm damage the other night. Go up and see all that. Never seen that.
We're glad you survived. We're glad you survived the big Ohio tornado. And from I'm not sure where, we found him. Derek Blaze from the Blaze Experience is here. Welcome, Derek. Welcome.
Welcome back.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it's been a while. I'm from New Hampshire, but nothing happens here, so everyone forgets about us, so don't worry.
New Hampshire. Where is that even at? That's like somewhere up there in the north.
Yeah, no one knows. We just say bye Boston, and people know that. So
It's by Massachusetts, right? Massachusetts?
yes.
Good, you can't pronounce it.
Yeah, the ka. They say ka.
Everyone in New Hampshire just says bye Boston. People are like, oh, Boston, okay.
Oh, that place. I've heard of that place.
Yeah, I've heard of that one.
I heard of that one. Welcome to the show, Blaze. Welcome. Anyways, we're here. People, you can follow us on Twitter at _Horrible Gamers, also known as the X, formerly Twitter. You can also find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify Podcasts, Pocket Cast. Maybe not Pocket Cast because Mayo says you can't find us on there. And find us on TuneIn Radio, Player FM, iHeartRadio, or wherever you find your podcast. Go share us with your friends and family. Also, big shout out to the community over on Facebook, Horrible Gamers Podcast Community. It's a close group, so anything you post in the group stays in the group. And a big shout out to our Patreons over at patreon.com/Horrible Gamers to support the show with the monies, like our friends, Jason Sams,
internet.
Jason Sams, thank you. Robert Noble, Chad, Henley M, Pork Chop Poo, big shout out to Pork Chop Poo, Nipron, Mayo, Evan, Big Daddy Tanaka, all in big caps, big letters, Big Evan, and Bill Garner, second of his name. Big shout out to all of you guys for being Patreon machines. We love you. We appreciate you. And big shout out to the Discord community over on Discord. Go to Discord and look for Horrible Gamers. The link is in the show notes. You can just click on that on your phone, on your tablet, on your computer. It'll take you directly to the Discord website. If you don't have an account, you just make one, and then it'll have you join our server. If you already have a Discord account, guess what? You already know how to use it. You just join our server, and we'll be on the list of servers for you to talk and chat with us and play with us, etc. Join us, whatever the hell you want to do. We're all in there. Go there. That's the place to go, right? That's the place.
HGP Discord.
Jesus, I'm starting to wonder. We got to talk about this. I'm starting to wonder. I think Evan is sending us some messages out here. You know,
messages.
Before he said he evolved, and now he said he's Big Daddy. I wonder if he's telling us some things.
What do you think this means?
What was he before that? Because he was something before that.
I don't remember.
Do you remember now?
I don't remember.
Big Mommy Milkers?
Something like that.
I remember that. He did go to Big Mommy Milkers.
Yeah, because remember he came on and said he evolved the other day, and now he's talking about he's Big Daddy.
Yeah, but he liked Big Mommy Milkers while he was in Ohio. So I don't know what's going on here.
Yeah, Mayo, you'd know more about that, right?
Yeah, I don't know. He said Big Mommy Milkers, something in Ohio. I don't know. He was also telling us to send help to Ohio because I think you had him kidnapped or something for like a year.
Oh, no.
Then you broke his leg.
You broke his leg. You couldn't get home. I don't know.
All theory. I don't know. I'd plead the fifth.
Anyways, he was able to escape. He is safe and sound, and he's still a Patreon. So, yeah, big shout out to Evan. Shout out to Evan. You know what? You know what's kind of weird though, Gunny, right? You know what is kind of weird though is, Evan sends me like reels on Instagram and shit like almost every day, but I haven't gamed with him since he's moved back from Ohio. Now, my theory is he never really made it out of Ohio, and
Dun, dun, dun.
and I think something happened to Evan.
You never want to leave, right?
Oh yeah, is that the rules? Is that what happens in Ohio stays in Ohio? Is that the
you
thing?
didn't know that?
So it could be somebody using his phone.
Yeah, and his computer and his stuff.
Yeah,
He did get a new phone while he was in Ohio, and he did have 2 at the time. So,
I don't know. Things are starting to be a little weird all of a sudden. We might have to do a wellness check. Gunny, we might have to go do a wellness check on Evan.
we need to call the LAPD to see if he's actually in LA. I assume that's where he lives, somewhere
He
down
lives
in
in
Orange
LA.
County or something.
I thought he lived like in San Diego or something. Where the fuck
Doesn't
does he
Nipron live in
live?
San Diego?
yeah, Nipron, San
Nipron.
Diego.
Maybe he lives
he's
there
in
too.
LA
I don't
area, I
know.
think.
I just say Southern California. I assume everything is
Evan-
LA.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think Evan does live in LA.
Oh, maybe we can have Nipron drive over to his house.
We'll have Iron drive from the north, Nipron go from the south, and then they kind
Maybe I
of
can
meet
drive
up.
south.
And then you can drive south, and then it'll be like a 3-way thing. You guys are all searching for Evan. Yeah, I think we should do that.
Blaze and I will
Search
fly
for
in.
Big Daddy.
We'll watch from above. All right, we'll watch from the plane.
or if he comes by Boston, I got that covered for you.
He might be out there. Yeah.
Might be in Boston.
But nobody's heard of New Hampshire, so that might be hard.
I think Evan is a victim of human trafficking.
I'll search the woods in New Hampshire, all right?
Anyways, welcome to the show, gentlemen and ladies and friends and family. Welcome all to the Horrible Gamers podcast. We're going to talk about stuff, but first off, I want to welcome Derek to the show. He's here. He's been here before. As you all may or may not know, Derek is the host of the Blaze Experience podcast. He's also a streamer. I don't know. Do you still do the podcast or what's going on there?
Yes, the podcast hasn't come back yet, but it's definitely something I'm going to bring back this year. But I did recently restart the stream. I know some of you guys know that I had a lot of issues going on life-wise for a while, so I was going through divorce and stuff like that. But happy to say that I'm back streaming now this year, and the podcast will come back this year as well. So
nice. So so the podcast, when you bring it back, do you plan to bring it back the same way it was? Are you planning any big changes to it? Any kind of style changes? Because I know your podcast was mostly it was a gaming podcast, but it wasn't like our gaming podcast. Your podcast would mostly go in depth on a certain game or games at a time, right? Like I know for the longest time you were doing what's that game called? Fucking
State of Decay.
State of Decay content. Yeah, you were like all over State of Decay. Like if you wanted to know something about State of Decay, you were listening to the Blaze Experience or talking to Derek, because this guy, I mean, he knew everything about that fucking game. And I mean, that's how I ended up finding you. When I was playing a lot of State of Decay, I ended up looking for podcasts for State of Decay, and I found you, and I was like, oh, this is pretty neat, man. And yeah, I remember I would listen to your podcast all the time and be like, oh, that's a good idea. This guy has a pretty good idea here. Like, maybe I should try that. You know, you were talking about like how to build your bases, what are the best locations, what's the best strategy to use to play the harder difficulties, and what to use when you're taking out the plague hearts and all that type of shit. I know that you were very in depth on that. So do you plan to bring the podcast back as that same style where you're focusing on one game? And if so, what game? Or do you plan to change it?
Yeah, I plan to be the same style, kind of. Not State of Decay anymore. I've kind of fell off of that game, but the games that I am playing at the time are going to be kind of, I would say, less focus on one particular game like I was with State of Decay, but more just, okay, this game this week, and then maybe next week I'll focus on a different game of the podcast. But obviously we'll get more into it later, but I have re-entered Wasteland 3 a lot, and that's probably a game I cover a lot of content for, because basically I've re-entered playing Wasteland 3 because I'm trying to 100% the game, which it is a hard game to 100%, because you have to do multiple full playthroughs to 100% it. But a friend and I are kind of working on that right now. So, but it will be the same style. So yeah, I kind of like that style of things where I just go in depth on one game, and then next week I'll go in depth at a different game, maybe that kind of thing.
I like that. So yeah, we look forward to hearing from you and seeing what content you bring up with Wasteland 3. Is there any particular game you're looking forward to cover like this year? Anything coming out soon that you may think, like I really want to get in depth on this game. This looks like an interesting game to get into and really get into it.
Yeah, I don't think it'll come out this year, but one of the ones that I'm definitely looking forward to, you guys might have seen the trailers for it and stuff, is Clockwork Revolution. That looks really interesting to me, and it's by some of the same developer, Exile. And that game is kind of where you go back in the past, and by going back in the past, you can kind of change the future of the game. So I kind of like the games like that, where basically the choices you make really affect things. But it's kind of like a steampunk style. And a lot of people have likened it to some other games in the past, but the developers come out and said that it's its own thing. It's not really meant to be like another game per se. But
yeah, I think that's the one that most people have been saying it looks like BioShock, right? Like BioShock
yeah,
or whatever.
That's what I was trying to think of. I couldn't remember the name that the people said, but a lot of people said it looks like BioShock, but the developers said it's not really the same thing, and you're going to be able to expect the same thing that Exile usually delivers, which with them, there's a lot of like heavy conversations where, you say one thing to Joe on the street, and then like, Joe on the street comes back like, 2 chapters later in the game. It's like, oh shit, I screwed him over. Like now he's back here to kill me. Like, that's the kind of thing that's like cool with their games, is any little detail that you do could come back to affect you later in the game. And they're one of the developers that really hammer down on that. So that's one of the things I appreciate about Wasteland 3 a lot, is the choices you make really do matter in the game.
Yeah. Okay, well that's good. I mean, I remember looking at that game. I remember seeing the trailer for it. I think it was last year. Last year at Microsoft Showcase or whatever, where they showed that little trailer for it. And literally the first thing that came to my mind was that it was oh, this looks a lot like BioShock Infinite. Like it reminded me of that.
Yeah.
So with that being said, do you plan to maybe play BioShock Infinite before it comes out to kind of see the comparisons people are making? Like, or are you just not interested in BioShock?
I probably wouldn't, to be honest. I'd probably focus on other things until it comes out. But what I might end up doing is just, watching some YouTube videos, like, listen to a couple podcasts to kind of get the vibe of what people are comparing it to. But I probably wouldn't spend the time to actually play the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they are planning like, I want to say, a reboot on BioShock. Hopefully it's a reboot and not just like a remake. I don't know the details on it, but
I always like that.
It's going to continue.
I've always liked that when games do reboots, but they keep kind of like the same, like, I guess the essence of the game, right? They keep like the main parts of the game the same, but they do reboot it with better graphics and better gameplay, better UI or whatever, I like it when games do that. It's cool to have remasters and stuff, but like if right now they made a remaster of Battlefield 4, it would be amazing, right? People would love it, but I would want to remaster with a little bit of enhancements. Like I do like the fact that in Battlefield, in the new one, 2042, the way that you can change your attachments, that you put on your little T cross thing that you pull up or whatever, the little menu while you're in the match. And you could just switch out your scopes real quick for the ones you have on there. Or you can switch out your magazines really fast or whatever, I do like that type of stuff. So like maybe if they like I like it when games do remasters, but more like reboots in a way. Because sometimes remasters don't hold up. And we'll talk about that later in the news because I know I got some news about Battlefront remasters that were released on Steam this week.
Yeah, I was going to mention that. And, it seems like it's not going well.
Yeah, we'll discuss that later on in the news. Because I was gonna buy that game, dude, but after the reviews, Mayo is like, no, thank you, no, thank you. I'm avoiding it like bad. Like I'm avoiding it so bad because I fucking love those games when they came out back in like 2004, 2003, 2005. Those games were amazing, dude, for what they were at the time. On the original Xbox, the first one, and even I think they were on PS2 as well, maybe. And those games were really fucking good, dude. They were a lot of fun back then, and to see them like released now and then the state that they're in, it's kind of like, oh fuck. Like, what did you guys do? What did you guys do, man? Like, you guys fucked this up this bad. Like, can't be that bad.
Baked, is what they did.
But
yeah, I was watching a review on it, and somebody said, like, how do you screw up a 20-year-old game? It's kind of true. Like, how do you screw that up? Like,
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know. Did they do the same thing with with Tomb Raider? But I don't know. We'll talk about that later.
We'll talk about that. Yeah. Anyways, Blaze, besides all that, we know you're bringing your podcast back. But what else do you do? We know you stream. You stream on Twitch. What do you like to stream, or what is it? What kind of streamer are you? Are you one of those nude streamers? Are you a hot tub streamer?
Hot tub?
You got a hot tub in your house?
I get down in my hot tub every night, you know. That's how I get all my views. No. No, I like to play a lot of tactics-based games, I would say. I'm very much into the turn-based atmosphere, so anything turn-based is kind of my thing. Unfortunately for me, since I don't play on PC, I have less of those available as options, because I know on PC you have a ton of those. Like, you have so many options for that on PC, but not as many come to console, unfortunately. But I've been streaming a lot of Wasteland 3, like I mentioned. I don't know if you guys have ever heard the game Hard West. That's another game I've been streaming sometimes.
It's a good one.
Hard West is actually really fun. So, been doing a lot of turn-based stuff, and I also like a lot of stuff that has choice to it, like I mentioned. So, I know you guys are familiar with like the Telltale games, like stuff like that, where it's like episodic and you have like choices. So, I enjoy a lot of games like that where the choices I make matter, because let's be real, there's a lot of games where like they say, oh, the choice matters, and it really does not matter at all. So, those ones don't resonate with me.
So do any RPGs resonate with you in terms of like, you like turn-based games, you like choices that matter? So I got a question for you, and this is important because last year a game released that has choices and it has turn-based combat, and the choices do matter a lot. And this game won Game of the Year last year for a lot of people, and that's Baldur's Gate 3. And it is on console. Do you plan to play Baldur's Gate 3?
That's one I probably would play. I haven't yet because that one's not available on Game Pass yet. But if it came to Game Pass, I'd probably play it like this week. But without it coming to Game Pass, I'll probably play it later in the year. But it's definitely one that I'm interested in. And I know, I think at one point you talked about one that was exclusive to Nintendo that seemed interesting to me as well. I think it was like Three Kings or something like that.
I'm trying to think of that. Oh, you mean Three Kingdoms? Was it that?
There
was
you go.
The Total War game.
Yeah, it was like Three Kingdoms.
Was that an exclusive?
Like that. I thought it was. Like, that seemed interesting too.
No, that's on PC. That's Total War game. That's a series. Total War is like it's an RTS series, right? Like a real-time strategy or whatever. And it's they have a bunch of them though. They have like Total War, whatever. They have like different names to them. I think Three Kingdoms was the one that they released a few years ago. And since then, I think they released another one. Am I wrong, Mayo? But I think they released another one since Three Kingdoms.
I'm thinking you did. You're right.
Because Three Kingdoms, I know if you look at the Steam, it says that it's lots of support. Like, it doesn't get patches anymore. But I think with the last big DLC they released for it like a year ago or 2 years ago.
Part of the Total War series, right?
Yeah, it's part of the Total War series, yeah. Or I think the other one you might be thinking of is the one that's on Game Pass on PC. What's it called? It's called Three Kingdoms or something, right, Mayo? Three Kingdoms.
Yeah, it doesn't. I don't remember it being a Total War game. I think
it was Three Kingdoms.
No, I'm gonna pull it up right now. I'm gonna open up Game Pass. Where the fuck is Game Pass? There it is. It's called.
Yeah, that's the one on Game Pass, I believe.
Isn't it called Crusader Kings or something?
That one I've heard of too, and that one I'm interested in trying.
Yeah, I'm trying to think here what it's called. I know that I think I know what you're talking about. Is it called Crusader Kings 3? Because I know that one is the one that had like that one is also, it's almost like it is a strategy game where you have like a kingdom. It's based in Europe. It's based like in like, I would say maybe the 1600s. And you're pretty much trying to take over like Europe as like the king or whatever. So you become the king of a certain country. You could pick whatever country. And then from there you are doing diplomacy and like you're making deals with other nations and allies and marrying off your children and killing your cousins and imprisoning their sons and daughters, and then you're fucking releasing them because you want to make a peace treaty, so you release them, and then you send off your kid to be a vassal to somebody. You have like a child, and then you're like, hey, I want to give my child to you, so like, you know, I'll never declare war on you because you have my child as your fucking slave or whatever. and he's gonna be working for you or whatever. So, but like, yeah, that game was cool too. Crusader Kings, I remember that. That was cool. It's on Game Pass on the PC.
Yeah, that one I'm definitely going to try soon. And I did actually find the game I was trying to think of. It was Fire Emblem Three Houses. That's what it was.
Oh, Fire Emblem. Yeah, that's the one that Iams was talking about.
Well, that is Nintendo. Yeah.
Yep.
That is the one that is exclusive to Nintendo. I was thinking Nintendo exclusive. What do they have? But you're right. That Fire Emblem game. Yeah, that one I heard really good things of. Iams, I know he really liked it when he played it. And that's the one where you it's almost like Harry Potter, right? Where you pick a house and then you have to like fight for your house and like.
Yeah, that seemed really interesting. And like, if it wasn't exclusive to Nintendo, I probably would have tried that years ago. But I mean, I don't own a Switch, so.
Yeah, I don't think that one's going anywhere else. I don't think that's coming to PC.
No, I don't think it'll ever come to PC.
Yeah,
Nintendo's they're pretty anti everything else, right?
Yes.
I ran across some.
They got it locked down on that Switch.
It was like a thing talking about how like they were talking about how Xbox and Microsoft eventually might come, to PC, but they were talking about Nintendo, and they were just like, yeah, no, Nintendo does their own thing, and they made the reference a couple times. And I guess it's true. Like Nintendo they're a toy company through and through, and so maybe they look.
There is one caveat to that. There is a caveat to that, and that is that they do the mobile platform, right? So even there is like a Fire Emblem kind of version, right, along with Mario Run and Mario Kart, right? So, but okay, technically, according to all of us, those aren't real games, though, right? Those are just on the mobile. Yeah.
See, so that's why, like,
Blaze, I kind of like Android.
I could try, yeah, but I was going to say, like, that's why I kind of like how Xbox kind of has done things recently. It's just, we don't really care where you play our game, just play it somewhere, and we'll take some money for it. Like, so I wish Nintendo and PlayStation did the same thing, because this day and age, I don't think it really matters anymore. Like, it's not like there's a war anymore. It's not like, oh, I'm a Nintendo person, I'm a PC person, I'm a Xbox person. Like, at this point, it really doesn't matter. It's just like, I want to play X game. Like, why can't I play this game right here? Like,
right. Yeah, I was saying that last week, and I know Gunny and I kind of were going back and forth for a minute there on that, because I was like, being a PC guy, I don't really see the complaint. If you can play it on your console, yay. And if it's available on the opposite one, it doesn't really hurt you. You know what I mean? It
Bullshit.
brings in more money.
Today I got in a fight with an Xbox guy at the store because he was wearing an Xbox shirt.
What? What'd you tell him? Did you punch him in the face?
I told him, fuck you, Xbox guy. PlayStation's better. This is for Jim Ryan. And I hit him.
For Jim Ryan. Sour crying Jim Ryan, who left PlayStation because he lost the Call of Duty deal. Okay.
I was like, where's your boy Phil Spencer at now, huh? Where's your boy Phil at now, huh?
He's been quiet. He's been hiding.
No Phil around here, huh?
No, he's been in Bermuda. He's been in Bermuda on vacation.
No cool jackets around here, and then we got
a big fight. It's too hot in Bermuda. Okay, he can't wear a jacket in Bermuda. It's too hot. He's wearing a tank top.
Listen, man, Phil's wearing a jacket everywhere he goes. That's like his thing, man. Okay.
No, it's Sarah Bond with the jacket now. Okay, she's got the cool jacket.
Sarah's gonna start wearing that jacket here in a minute.
If I ever see Phil without a jacket, it's not Phil, man. I don't care. I'll be like, no, you're not the real Phil. I want to meet the real Phil. I want to see the guy with the cool jacket. Okay. That's what I want to see. Anyways, so, Blaze, I guess this is the moment now where you tell us what you've been playing lately and what you're into. What are you doing over there? What's going on?
Yeah, so I guess I could talk a little bit more about Wasteland 3. I'm sure a lot of people have heard of it. It's been out for several years now, but Wasteland 3 is one of those turn-based games that I've talked about, and what I really like about it is the choices matter, and there's a lot of content in that game. One of the things I was talking about earlier is my friend and I have kind of started playing it again because we're trying to 100% it. And it's a game that's actually hard to 100% because you have to put so much effort. You can't just 100% the game in one playthrough. It's literally impossible because you have to go through multiple playthroughs and do different endings, do different parts of quests where, like, say there's one guy, okay, if you kill this guy, you get an achievement, but if you keep him alive, you get an achievement. So, like, it's kind of like that where you really have to map out your playthroughs in order to 100% it, and that's kind of why my friend Prez and I have dived back into it, because we're trying to 100% the game now. So we're doing it on the hardest difficulty, and it really packs a punch in the difficulty. But the amount of content they put in that game is just really amazing. because even in the DLC that I played recently that they had, there's a guy very early in the game that if you free him in the prison, then in the DLC you meet the guy again, and there's like a little quest line with the guy in the DLC. So this is like years afterwards they brought that guy back into the DLC. So they have like little nuggets sprinkled throughout the game. And there's another nugget, for example, where there's a girl that you can actually sell into slavery, which obviously doesn't sound good, but there's a reason you might do that or might not do that. But even if you do that, you actually find the girl later in the game and you see the effects of your choice and you can kind of save her at that point. So those are just kind of two small examples of the little things you can do in that game and kind of, have content come back later.
I believe the gentleman you're referring to that you released from the jail cell, I believe he's at the base itself.
Yep.
Am I not? Yeah, I remember that because I remember when I was playing and Blaze, I remember you did all the footwork on everything because you were like, "Hey, you want to kind of finish up the game?" And I'm like, "You know what? Spoilers. I'm probably never going to finish this game. It takes so long." And that was I had a blast playing with you that time because I think I had control of like what 2 or 3 characters, and you had 3 characters, and yeah, and then you were like, I have to go back into the game again, and and now I'm going to play a different way, making different choices, and I'm like, man, like that's just a lot. So yeah, I had a lot of fun playing that.
Yeah, that's actually one of the cool things too is you can play it co-op, which a lot of these turn-based games you can't play co-op, so it's kind of nice when you can. And like you said, you play with 3 characters, and your partner plays with 3 characters, so you kind of work together in the battles. I will say that unfortunately the co-op is buggier than playing a solo player, but so if you do play co-op, be prepared that you might have some crashes still and stuff because they have stopped updating the game. But I mean, it's not like egregious where you're crashing every like 10 minutes or something. But let's just say we started playing for like 5 hours right now. We may have 1 or 2 crashes during that 5 hours, which isn't horrible to me, but it is something to note.
Yeah, I remember that bug you were talking about, and you were like, "Okay, Gunny, don't forget, don't hit reload at a certain time because the game will just bug out. Like it won't crash, but you won't be able to fire your weapon." So I just remember the pressure was on. I was like, "Okay, do not reload." Just use whatever bullets were in my weapon at the time.
You mentioned that because Prez and I have run into that during this playthrough as well, and there was times that like he forgot and he reloaded. I'm like, well, I guess you can't do anything, so I'll have to reload. So
see, you figure I was playing a lot of XCOM I think I played XCOM 2 a little bit later, but that was the thing, right? You always want to make sure you got to reload, and yeah, like you're prepared for your next turn. So it was like instilled in me. So
yeah, it's basically a bug that like the co-op player, if you empty the last of your clip in a gun, then it can sometimes cause you to not be able to end it. So say you have like a clip of 100, then if you fire all the way down to like 2 shots or something, you're fine. But if you empty the full clip, then the game can kind of cause issues. So that's what that is. But it's unfortunate they never fixed that bug, but I mean they kind of moved on to other things, I guess. So
yeah,
it is what it is.
But still a playable game. Yeah,
definitely.
Okay. You been playing anything else?
Yeah. Another turn-based one I've been streaming probably once or twice a week is Hard West. That one's also a little bit older, but it's a game I honestly never knew about till this year. I was just kind of browsing Game Pass and, browsing what's on Xbox. I'm like, oh, Hard West looks pretty cool. And Hard West is a turn-based game. It's kind of in a Western style. So think of it as like, you're jumping into a Western, but it's turn-based. And this game is actually very interesting with their combat system because with a lot of combat systems, I know people are used to, okay, you have your hit points, you have like, your armor, defense, stuff like that. This game does technically have hit points, but it's interesting how they do it because it's very low hit points. Like, say I was playing and a character might have like 7 or 8 health. So that seems pretty low, but how it balances it out is actually a stat called luck. And basically, say Gunny fired at me right now and he missed. What would happen is my luck would go down, making it easier to hit me next time. So if I start with 100 luck and somebody misses a shot on me, that might take away 40 luck. So then I'm down to 60 luck. So the next time somebody shoots at me, it's still fairly unlikely that I get hit. But if they miss again, then I might be down to like 10 or 20 luck, which means the next time I get a shot fired at me, I'm definitely getting hit. So
Wow.
it's kind of interesting in that sense because I haven't really seen a lot of games play around with a stat like that where missing kind of, decreases your chance or increases your chance based on what happens. Because in the alternate sense, if somebody hits you, then you actually gain luck back. So say somebody hit me for -2 health, then I probably gain like 60 to 80 luck back, making it harder to hit me the next time. So you have to kind of play around with that. And one of the difficult aspects of the game is you only get 2 items per combat encounter in your quick slot. So you don't have a lot of chances to heal. So you have to be very careful about how you play the combat because you might only have, one healing herb that gives you +3 health, but you literally have 2 items per character and that's it. So it kind of makes it challenging in that way because if you use it too early, you might be kind of screwing yourself. So you have to kind of save it for the right moment. And there's certain situations where I basically had to, go, okay, I'm going to chance it one more turn. I think I can survive one more turn. I'm going to chance it one more turn. And you have to kind of play with it and really maximize on that risk versus reward thing because if you use stuff too early, then you might be in a bad spot later on. But what I really like about the game is there's different combat scenarios and different combat engagements because the game is not linear based where you just go, okay, I'm playing the game, playing through this kind of closed world on rails. What the game kind of capitalizes on is there's little mini scenarios where think of it like an episodic game. There's different episodes you can play, and each scenario has a certain set of characters that are specific to that scenario, and there's certain rules for that scenario that might not apply to other scenarios. So, like, for example, there's one scenario that I played that had a madness meter where basically there was a nuke that was kind of causing radiation and it was making my characters more and more mad. So the longer you go in the scenario, the more negative effects you have, which kind of ramps it up because then it kind of incentivizes you to try and finish quicker because obviously your character keeps getting more and more mad. So you want to kind of cure him. So there's different things like that. And there's also scenarios where you have to like kind of stay in one area and protect something where like, a swarm of enemies kind of come at you, but there's other scenarios where you're on the offensive. So honestly, like for a smaller indie game, I think they did a really good job with varying up how things work.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah.
All right. What else?
Yeah, another good one I recommend, Blaze, is Jagged Alliance 3. That is on Xbox, but unfortunately not on Game Pass yet. That one you should
Wow.
put on your radar.
I'll have to write that one down. I'm always looking for more. So
Yeah, I believe the second one might be on Game Pass, but not as good as what Jagged Alliance 3 is, like a newer for the newer Series X console, S.
okay.
Better
Yeah, I'll have
craft.
to check that out because I know some games are obviously locked to Series S and X, and then some games you can still play anywhere pretty much. But
Yeah, and some they just didn't release it like on the Xbox One, but Jagged Alliance 3 they might have.
I'll check that one out. Kind of not in a turn-based realm though. Something else I play a lot, and especially if my daughter is around, I play a Disney game called Disney Speedstorm. I don't know if anyone's heard of that, but that's kind of I would say, not really rival because it's not big enough to be a rival to it, but it's kind of in the same light as Mario Kart. Everyone knows Mario Kart, obviously, but this game is sort of a Disney version of Mario Kart and you can use a lot of classic Disney characters. There's Buzz Lightyear in there, Woody from Toy Story. You have, classic Mickey characters like Mickey, Minnie, Goofy. Um, they recently put like Wally and Eve in the game, so you have like a lot of different racers like that, and kind of similar to Mario Kart. Each character can use power ups in the game. So there's like, rush abilities where they go faster. There's bombs and discs you can throw behind you or in front of you. And you also have special abilities for each character, which is pretty cool. Like, for example, Buzz, one of his special abilities is he has a rocket he can shoot off really fast. There's a steamboat version of Mickey that one kind of makes this cart go into like a boat, kind of like the old Steamboat Willie cartoon. So basically, his cart goes into a boat, and then he's invulnerable where he can't get hit for like a short period of time, and a trail kind of goes behind him as if it's waves. Um, but there's a lot of different characters in there. There's like Jack Sparrow, Elizabeth Swann, so there's a lot of different Disney stuff, and I play that a lot. It's kind of one of those live service games, but it is free to play, so you can choose how much you want to spend or not spend depending on your preference. But that one's a lot of fun, and they kind of update it each week. There's different seasons for it. Currently, it's the Little Mermaid season, and especially on the weekends when my daughter's here, I play that a lot. She just says, "I want you to watch Disney races." So I play that a lot
Nice.
for her, and she kind of picks. She'll tell me, "Okay, I want to see the robot race, or I want to see Donald Duck race." Like, okay, like so, I just kind of race whatever she wants. So that one's kind of fun, and I kind of have gravitated away from it a little bit recently because we're kind of waiting for the next season in that game now. But it is definitely one that I would check out if you do like any kind of racers or Mario Kart. It's definitely a different atmosphere, and I think for any fans of Mario Kart or like the Crash Team Racing, that kind of genre, it's definitely one worth checking out at least.
Yeah. How old is she? And is she able to hold the controller and actually play?
She's 8, and to a small degree, I would say she's able to, um, but not quite yet to the level of like actually being able to do everything. Like I've had her do some races before where she'll like kind of turn, but then I hit some of the power up buttons for her. So it's kind of like a tag team thing right now. Um, I might have mentioned in the past on here that my daughter's autism, so it's a little bit harder for her to grasp sometimes, but she's kind of getting there. She's very good at her little like tablet style games, but she's not super well versed in how to use a controller yet, but we're getting there. So,
Good.
and then I guess I'll give a small nod that in that same respect, when she's here, I do play a similar game called Disneyland Adventures with her occasionally. I don't have a lot to say about that game. That one's just kind of as if you went to Disney World in person. Basically, it's like you went to Disney World in person and you just kind of walk around, see the characters, do little quests like, okay, go take a picture with this one or go get a autograph from this one. So there's like a lot of little mini games in there. It's not one I'd super recommend like for not having kids, but if it's one that your kids are into Disney, I would say it's a recommend for that respect, which is kind of what I use it for. Like I'm never going to play it on my own, but if my daughter's here, then I might jump into that with her. She likes her Disney a lot, so
I could tell. Yeah, that's
Nice.
great. Yeah.
yeah,
Glad you get to spend family time, playing Disney
exactly.
games. What about Lego? Is she into any of those games at all? Like I
She's
know there's
not
a new
into,
Lego racing game that came out recently, and just Lego in general.
yeah, she's not into those games as much, but she is into more watching me put together Legos. Like for example, they have a Lego Pac-Man set, which is really cool that we bought and put together. And she can't do a lot of the putting together parts, but like when we do that together, I'll say, okay, find me the blue piece that looks like this, and she'll find it for me and give me the piece. So she kind of helps in that respect. But um, the Lego Pac-Man is actually pretty cool for anyone that likes Lego. Like it actually turns, and it feels like you're playing the game. And they have a little stand up top that makes the ghosts, turn back and forth. So I'm kind of impressed with where Legos come because back when I was growing up, like Lego sets didn't do the things they do now. So
Yeah,
Oh, hell yeah.
and I'd not heard of the Lego Pac-Man thing, so that's new to me. But yeah, it's like what do they have left to do really that they haven't done already? Or Star
yeah,
Wars,
exactly.
Indiana Jones. I mean, you name it in the video game space and the actual physical Legos.
Yeah, I know it's not going to help for the podcast actually, but I can kind of show it on camera for you guys. So
Yeah,
Okay,
that's
it's an
kind of
pretty
see
actual
cool.
that like
arcade.
it's an
Yeah, I was
actual
just looking
arcade
it up
cabinet.
online.
Yep. And then like basically the little ghost kind of chase them around and stuff like that. So there's a little turn crank. There's a little thing up top that kind of goes back and
Oh,
forth like
that's
this.
neat.
So
Yeah.
yeah, so it's kind of cool. Obviously doesn't help for podcasts, listeners, but I would definitely check it out. Like
So
it's
this is a
kind of
little
interesting.
cabinet that he was showing.
Yeah, basically it's a little like it's as if you play Pac-Man in the arcade. It's a kind of a desktop version of that where you can set it on your desk, and we have it kind of set aside in a stand over here.
Sweet. That's
Yeah, that's pretty
awesome.
cool. And pretty much what you've been playing, or
There's a few other ones. I mean, I'm sure some of you guys have at least tried Pal World. I played it a little bit.
Oh yeah.
I honestly didn't take to it as much as some people did. It was fun to jump into with friends a little bit, but um, it wasn't a game that took me by storm kind of thing like I did with a lot of people. But I did jump into it for a few hours on occasion, and it was kind of fun to build some stuff. See the different pals that were in there. But it's not a game that I jump into often, but I still have it downloaded just in case I want to jump back into it.
Yeah, that was a game
Yeah,
for
it's
me
still my
that
downloads.
I played it just nonstop Blaze, like when it came out. Like I think I want to say I played it for literally for a week on Game Pass, and I saw it was 30 on Steam. I was like, oh, I have to get this on Steam.
Right.
So that way, because I recently bought a Steam Deck. So, but literally, I haven't really even played it on there. I've been playing other games on the Steam Deck, but yeah, I just played it on the desktop on Steam. Like I probably just put like 30 hours into it, maybe a little bit more, and then I haven't really picked it up in the last several weeks. I've just been playing other things and just been busy, but it's a great game. I really like it a lot.
Yeah, I would definitely say it's great, and I definitely see why people get enamored with it and play it a lot. Just it's not as much in my style where I'm more apt to get sucked into like an RPG or get sucked into like a turn-based game or like an episodic game. Like those are the kind of games I get sucked into more. So I definitely see the merit of the game and why people like it. It's just not as much my style, so I didn't get sucked in as heavily, I would say.
Yeah, I feel like maybe it's because you figure I'm not so much into the Switch but I really like the Pokemon games that, what they've done with them. And I play Pokemon Go on the phone but I thought, oh, here it is. Here's my Xbox Pokemon game and I'm going to collect them all. So that is still a goal of mine to
Right.
actually collect them all. And there is a thing on there, Blaze, that this game can actually be played offline if you choose to. So you don't have to be
No, I
connected
didn't know that
to
part. Okay.
yeah, you don't have to be connected to Xbox Live or Steam or anything. You can literally disconnect, and there's just a ton of options. If you go into the options menu, raising the XP, no raids. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. So, realistically, you could actually play this game a full playthrough. I'm just gonna guess that you could probably do it in less than 20 hours if you just, kind of what I like to call on the show is baby mode, right? So that's what
Right.
a lot of the games, like I say, yeah, I played it on super easy, which is baby mode. So which I haven't. I only did a little bit of, I would just say a little bit of cheating where I just kind of raised my XP, but I brought it back down to kind of the norm, and just been playing mostly vanilla. The only thing that I actually changed in it on the Steam version was if I drop my bag when I die, like basically I take all my inventory with me. Like I don't have to go chase it down in like, an area region where it's so hot that you need to have, a piece of armor or clothing to protect you from it. So, and I'm like, no, I'm not going to go, yeah, I could probably fast travel back over there, but let me keep what I actually have in my inventory. So, other than that,
Right.
yeah, I've just been playing it like normal. So, but yeah,
Yeah,
still
I do
installed.
appreciate when games have like a, I guess, quote unquote baby mode too, because not every game you want to go like hardcore on. So it is nice to have as an option for like the games that you just don't want to dive into and have to like really focus on. Like for example, Wasteland actually has somewhat similar of a mode called Tourist, where that's like the baby version of Wasteland 3, where like you basically one shot all the enemies. And it's nice to have options like that because if you want to just enjoy the story of the game, you can at least enjoy the story at a lot quicker pace because not everyone has like the time to put into every one of these games. So it makes it so you can kind of just breeze through the game a lot quicker, get the gist of the story, and then move on to your next game. So it
Yeah.
is nice for those options.
And I will bring up real quickly because I didn't get a chance to really speak on it last week. We talked a lot about basically, Dragon's Dogma 2 is coming out. It was one of my favorite games to play on the Xbox 360. And so one of the things, Mayo, was that I think when I actually picked up that game, it could have been a year or two later for all I know. But it actually had like an actual easy mode to it on Dragon's Dogma, the original. So that was like one of the things for me that I was intimidated by. I was like, oh, this game's going to be really hard. And, like, I'm probably just going to, this is back when you actually had to pay for games. There was no such thing as Game Pass, right? So I probably had the disc at the time, probably had to go down to a GameStop and make that purchase for, $30 at the time. It might have been on a discount. But yeah, so I just remember watching like YouTube videos where, oh, they've got an easy mode. So that was the enticing thing for me to pick that game up. So I would imagine that hopefully this second one has the same thing. And I won't be playing it, Blaze, in easy baby mode. No, I'll be playing it on normal, regular. So that's
There you
exactly
go.
how I played
Oh,
Elden
look
Ring.
at you, Gunny.
Yeah, I'm a grown up now.
Yeah, you are.
So
Yeah, my kind of default with games is I always go like the setting just below hardest when I start a game, because I don't want to start a game on the hardest of hard, because I want to learn how the game mechanics work first. But say a game has like 4 settings, like super easy, medium, and hard, or something like that. I would start it at the medium, just because I don't want to have like so easy of a challenge, but I also don't want to have the hardest challenge possible when I don't understand the mechanics of the game yet. So I always start the second one down for games that I just start out usually.
Nice.
That's,
yeah.
but yeah, that's mostly what I've been playing. I'll just drop 2 games that I'm kind of looking forward to playing. One of them is coming back on May 28th, Multiverses. I don't know if you
Oh
guys have
yeah. We
heard
talked
much
about that
yeah.
last week. Yep.
Yeah, so Multiverses, I'm definitely looking forward to jumping back into. I think the team Player First Games does a great job with it, and I'm excited for what has to come next. I love, playing the different characters in that game, and I think they make the characters really feel how the characters should. Like Bugs Bunny has like a lot of wacky things that he uses. Arya Stark is like really good with her sword. Like it basically, what I'm trying to say is like every character feels as though they should. Like, Iron Giant feels like really clunky, but you would expect him to be clunky. And, he kind of is tank and takes a lot of damage. So I think they do a great job with making the characters feel how they should. And I'm kind of looking forward to more modes in that game, because they teased when the game was first in pre-release that they'd have like a sort of faction style mode where you could like join a group of friends and kind of have like, this is my faction. There's like 20 people, and we work on objectives like together for something. So I don't know how that's going to work yet, but I'm excited for things like that. So we'll see what they have in store when that comes back. But the other one that I'm going to play probably within the next month or so is a little bit older, but it's one of those choice style games I've talked about before, and that's As Dusk Falls. Have you guys heard of that?
Yeah.
Yes, as Dusk Falls is like a story based game, and it's a game that has a lot of branching choices to it, where you can miss a lot of the game depending on how the choices you make go. But that's a game that you apparently can play with multiple people at the same time. And what I find interesting with that is, say we're all playing it right now. If I made a choice and I don't want you guys to disagree with me on the choice, I can use like what's called a pin, and I can set my pin on that choice where I made that choice and no one else can disagree with it, kind of thing. So each person gets like, I think it's 2 or 3 pins throughout the game. So I think that's kind of interesting if you play it co-op with friends, because you all can get choices that, this choice matters to me a lot. I'm putting my foot down on this choice. But then, somebody else could put their foot down on a different choice. So you can kind of have your game work out differently based on friends. So that's something I plan to do with a couple people on stream. And that's what I'm looking forward to playing as well.
Nice.
All right. Well, I guess I'll get into what I've been playing this week. As you all know, I've been playing some more, of course. I played some more of that game News Tower. And I've gone a little bit more deep into it now, building my news company or whatever. I'm actually doing okay now. I kind of figured out how to like balance things out, so I don't go bankrupt right away and I don't like overspend on shit that I don't need, and like figure out what the fuck what I was doing wrong. And I kind of figured it out. So my tower is about 4 stories high now, and I got like an editor, I got a lawyer, I have a bunch of news reporters, and yeah, it's kind of growing, Gunny. So I'm hoping to make it big as fuck. I don't know what the maximum size of the tower is, though. I don't know like if there's even a limit on how big your tower can be. I think there's no limit. I think it just keep going forever. But the floors do get more expensive the higher you get. I think the last one that I bought was 5,000. I think the next one is 10,000, which is a lot of money in the game. I mean, when you're only making like $2,000 every time you print, it doesn't seem like a lot of money when you're having to spend 10 grand. That's not a lot of money you're making, when you're having to spend 10 grand to just buy a floor. And that's just the floor that's empty. You have to put all the shit in it, like the doors, the power generators for the building to keep more power running to the building, etc.
Are the years going by like as you print?
No,
Like how does that work?
I haven't seen a year go by yet. I'm assuming it will though, because I heard the game is like kind of historically accurate in terms of when you're playing the campaign. There is, I think there's an endless mode now where you could just play forever and keep playing. But I think the campaign is historically accurate in terms of it starts off like in 1920 something, like 1923 or something like that, or maybe earlier than that, maybe 19 like in the 10s, 1910 or something. But anyways, you're playing, and as the years go on, you're seeing different laws and different like breaking news come up of like certain boxers losing or certain like certain things being done by the government or whatever, like, oh, Congress is trying to pass this thing where banks can't do this all of a sudden, or the president is trying to sign this new tax act or whatever to tax people on this, or like different shit like that is breaking news sometimes. And some of that stuff is historically accurate to the year or whatever. So I think the year is about, I want to say it's probably in the 20s or the 30s where you start off at. Maybe it's like 1932 or 1930. I don't know, something like that.
So right before the great stock market crash, or right when the Federal Reserve was invented or formed.
Yeah, exactly. Because I keep getting like news about how the government's trying to pass tax acts, and like the banks are pissed off, and like the Congress is trying to like fucking impose a Federal Reserve or whatever the fuck, and all this shit's going on. So I'm like, keep getting breaking news about that I can cover. But yeah, man, the game is pretty neat. I figured out you can unlock elevators because right now my building just has staircases that go up and down. So my workers have to go up and down the staircases all day, to like restock the machine or get to their station or go to the bathroom. They have to walk down a set of stairs to go to that certain floor. But I think I did see that you can buy an elevator. So I'm assuming you install the elevator in your building and the elevator goes up and down, whatever the fuck, So I'm like, the elevator probably speeds things up, it makes it faster so your people can get to certain floors quicker or whatever, But we'll see how that works. But I look forward to playing more of it. I do know that they added a endless mode at this point. They did an update real quick to the game last week where they added the endless mode, and the endless mode pretty much is, I think after you beat the campaign, which I don't know what year it's at. I think they said it was like 1980 or something like that when you beat the campaign. So it's quite a long time. Or maybe it was like the 2000s. I don't know, but you beat the campaign, you can continue in endless mode, and I don't know. I think the game just keeps generating news for you to cover. I don't know how that works, but I look forward to playing more of that. Besides that, though, I did play some more of Helldivers 2. I'm actually doing like level 7 missions right now because I'm trying to get the pink samples, and then I think they're called titanium or steel or something like that. They're like a special kind of sample that you need to get, and they only spawn on level 7 or higher. So I've been focusing on level 7, and kind of every match that I go into, me or the team that I'm with, we kind of make it a goal to make sure we find the rock, because there's a certain rock on the map, right? It's only one type of rock. It's like sticking up out of the ground, and it has like white veins all over it. It's kind of glowing. And if you go to that rock, there'll be 3 samples of that pink stuff underneath it. And you pick those up, and then you extract with them, right? And then you get them or whatever when you extract. But so every match that I've been playing now, that's kind of been my goal, is to try to get as many samples as possible. The reason for the samples is because when you collect samples in Helldivers 2, you can upgrade your spaceship, like your home base mothership thing or whatever, in fucking space, your Star Destroyer thing. You can upgrade that with like better equipment. So like you can make it to where like your airstrikes reload faster or whatever. So like you can call in airstrikes more frequently. You can make it to where the turrets, when you call in a turret, it takes 20 seconds for it to drop out of the sky. You can upgrade a thing where it takes no seconds. It'll just, as soon as you throw the thing down, they'll launch it from the fucking Star Destroyer to land where you put the thing down or whatever. You know what I mean? So it kind of improves the cooling down time of like how fast. But like if you call in an airstrike, it'll improve how fast you can call in the next one or whatever. You know what I mean? Because there is a timer on your engrams, which is like your call-ins or your like little perk call-ins things that you have, like kill streaks. There is a cooldown on those, and there is limits to those. But you can upgrade these limits and reduce the cooldowns by upgrading your spaceship, like your Star Destroyer, whatever the fuck it is called. I don't know what it's called. It's called something like your Destroyer. I think it's called the Destroyer. Whatever. Anyways, you upgrade that shit. But certain upgrades require that you have to have the pink samples. You know, you have to have those specific samples to be able to upgrade to like the second tier or the third tier of the upgrade. Because each upgrade has 3 tiers: the first one, the second one, third one. By the third one, some of them even have it on the second one, where you have to have the pink samples to be able to upgrade those tiers and get those unlocks, you know. So that's what my focus has been. That I think I've got 9 samples now. I need to get about 25 of them, and that's kind of a long time. I feel like it's a lot because each match that you play, right? Say I'm playing on a hard difficulty. I'm playing level 7, which I think is called suicide level or something like that. I'm playing on that. It pretty much has me so like each match takes about anywhere between 10 minutes to 45 minutes each match. So you think about that, you only get 3 samples per match. So it's quite a bit of Helldivers that I have to play before I can get all the upgrades that I want to get. Right now I could do some of them with the 9 samples I have, but I'm trying to get one specific one, which is like the airstrike one, where like it reduces my like the turnaround time for them to reload. Because some airstrikes you can call in like 2 or 3 airstrikes come almost back to back. There's about a 20-second cooldown in between, but once you call those 3 airstrikes in, the pilot says, "Okay, I'm returning back to the ship. I need to reload." So they take off and they go back to the space station or whatever to reload the plane with more missiles, right? But with this upgrade, I can reduce that time from like 4 minutes down to like 2 minutes. So it could be faster for them to come back, and I can recall in more airstrikes. You know what I mean? So I look kind of forward to doing those upgrades because I've been playing a lot of it. I also did buy the Battle Pass, which is the Steeled Veterans one. But what's shitty is as soon as I bought that one, right? As soon as I bought that one, Mayo,
Oh, yeah. I hear.
the super something else came out, like the super light something fucking thing came out, which is like the third battle pass. But what's cool is when the third one came out, yeah, I do have to get that now, but that costs 1,000. It costs 1,000 super credits, which you can pay for super credits in the game. There is a store you can buy super credits, which I totally could right now if I wanted to, if I don't want to wait. But super credits are also earned through beating the battle passes. So if I beat like what I have now, I may have like 600 super credits, which is still not enough to buy that battle pass. But you can also earn super credits by like exploring the map. So when you're in a match, even in lower difficulties, you can find like little bunkers or like little garage things you can blow up or open them, and there'll be super credits in there. And it won't be much. It'll be like, oh, you found fucking 15 super credits, or you found 20, or you found 30, or you found 40. But it's never more than like 50, right? Super credits that you find per match. But I mean, eventually you could have enough, right, where you will have enough to buy the next battle pass. But like I said, what I do like about these battle passes, though, guys, is that they even said it themselves. The developer did. They said when we add a new battle pass or like a new thing, right, like a new a 3-page battle pass, which is what they are. They're 3 pages, and to unlock the next page, you have to spend so many medals, which you earn by completing matches or like completing certain orders, which are like challenges that they give you. You get certain medals for that. And that's how you like unlock stuff in the battle pass in the page. And then you unlock the next page by spending 100 tokens or whatever. And then you unlock the third page by spending 200 more tokens or whatever. What they did say about the battle passes, though, guys, is that when they add a new one, they will not be removing the old ones. So if I only play this game and I've only beat the second battle pass, I don't ever have to beat the third one, but it will always be there for me later on in the future if I want to beat it. You know what I
That's
mean?
nice at least.
Yeah.
Does that battle pass, the second one, will ever run out? Will it expire?
No. No.
Gotcha. I seen him. I actually fired this game up today, Jesus. I did probably play it the other day as well. I hopped on, was it like 2 days ago, maybe 3 days ago, and I fired it, and I saw you were playing, and
Yeah.
I got in. And I did the tutorial again. 'Cause that was like the second time playing through the tutorial. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna commit a little more time to this now. That my boy's kind of done playing it. I'm playing it off his shared account, and so I got to like pick my first mission. And I seen you were online, so I kind of figured out like where you were at and like what you were doing. And it said your party was full, so I'm like, okay, I can't join you. You know, I didn't message or nothing like that. So I'm like level one going into all this, right? So I'm like looking at the thing, and you like has like the globe, and you can pick different missions. So I'm looking
Yeah.
at it, and I'm like, I find one, and there's a guy playing, and he's like level 2. I'm like, oh, that's perfect. We can be
All
level 1,
right.
level 2 over holding down the fort, you know, right? And so I click on it, I go to join it, and it said there's like just him in the group, you know, in the game. And I go to join it, and it's like server error, unable to join the game, party is full, or something like
Uh,
that. And I'm like, oh, you
Sometimes
kidding
that
me?
happens. The
And then
best
I
way
just
to
turned it
join a
off.
quick match is to quick play. If you don't like, if you're unsure, like if you want to start a match yourself, you can always just quick play and it'll randomly put you in a match with certain people,
Okay,
in
I
the
didn't see
difficulty
that.
that in the difficulty that you choose. So usually to do quick play, you have to click on a planet that you want to go to, and then you pick the difficulty that you want to be on, and you just hit quick play, and it'll try to match you with someone right that needs people in their squad, and then you kind of
Gotcha.
spawn in, and you'll spawn in near them. So it's not like it's going to spawn you on the map and you'll be like across the map from them. No, it'll technically what it'll do, it'll just spawn you near them wherever they're at on the map. So if they're in a place where they're fighting a shitload of bugs, I mean, you could be their fucking savior and just show up and help them out or whatever. Or you could die with them. You know, either that could happen too, because that's happened to me. Uh, but the other day I was fucking around and I went to a level 1, which is the trivial. I think it's called trivial. Like the difficulty is like the level 1, the lowest one. And I fucking randomly joined some guy. I put quick play, and I fucking got in there, dude. And I was killing everything. It was like, this is too easy. Like I was fucking calling in airstrikes, calling in my mech. I had all kinds of cool shit to call in. These guys got so pissed off at me that I went in there, started killing everything, that they left.
Oh,
They
oh no.
left. So
So you like
I'm like,
took over the
really?
game?
Well, yeah, and I was in there by myself, so I ended up finishing the mission and I extracted. And I mean, I barely got like any XP for it, which is like when you're higher level, the thing once you get past like level 20, the XP starts getting really hard to get unless you're playing like like harder difficulties. I think 7 or above. You're gonna have a hard time leveling up because it takes forever to level up on these higher tiers. So I'm like level 31 at the time, and I go in there and I kick these fucking bugs' asses. I'm just standing there shooting everything. And then I go to extract, and it was just like waiting for the ship to come in. There was no bugs. I'm just standing there like this is boring. Like what the fuck? I was just
See what
standing there
happens,
like
Jesus?
doing
That's my
nothing.
world. Baby mode is my world, man. Come on.
Baby mode was like nothing, dude. I was like, I'm used to being like fucking mayhem right now, like trying to like barely make it for the ship to come in and jump in and dive in last second, you know. I'm like fighting for my life, fighting these fucking things that are the size of a building coming at me. And right now I'm just standing here shooting these little baby bugs with my sidearm. I wasn't even
Them
using
guys
my
are
main
like,
gun.
they're like, oh, they're using World War One weapons, and Jesus comes in from like the future, and he just comes in and wipes everybody out. Like,
I came in with fucking airstrikes and mechs and shit, just calling him in, fucking things up with my shotgun, and then yeah, I don't know if they got mad, but I mean, in reality, I was just trying to help him out. You know, I was like, you know what, I'll help these guys out. You know, we'll beat this mode, and maybe they'll realize, oh, this guy's sticking around. We'll bump up the difficulty, and that way they get leveled up faster. You know what I mean? Because if
Yeah.
Mayo, if you join one of my matches, Mayo, and you're level 1, right? By beating like a level 7 tier difficulty, you're gonna level up like twice, dude. You're gonna be like,
I'm up to
you're
level
gonna,
2, Jesus. I mean, I am cruising right
I
Oh,
mean,
there
I
you go.
guess. Yeah, but I mean, you'll level up fucking quick, dude. You'll start getting like all this XP and shit, you know, before you know it, you'll be like level 15 really fucking fast because you'll be playing the difficulties that we're playing on. You know, like yeah, you're probably gonna die, and yeah, you're probably gonna have shitty airstrikes to call in, but it's not like you're gonna be a useless person, right? Because the game doesn't tie. It doesn't really tie difficulty based on gear. The gear is kind of always there for everyone. Like, yeah, I may have an access to a better gun, but hey, you know what could be a trick? I could fucking spawn in with my gun and I get killed, and you could just pick up my gun. And now you have my gun, and now you could fucking run around with the shit I had on, and you just pick up ammo. Like, yeah, when you die, you'll lose it, but you can always try to find it again on the map and pick it up and then run around with it. You
Did
know what I
it
mean?
give
Like,
you like more enemies to make it more difficult then, or they had
yes,
like the same
that's
hit
what the
points?
game does. So the game makes it to where more enemies spawn in and makes it that's what the difficulty is tied to. It's not tied really to what kind of gear you have. Yes, it is, because if you're all a bunch of level 1s trying to do a level 10 mission, guess what? You're gonna fucking struggle. Fuck, even the other day I joined a level 10 mission and it was like impossible, dude. Like, we were struggling. Me and this other guy were in there and he was like level 50. He was like maxed out. And it was me and him that were in there. The other guy left in the middle of the match. And dude, we could not. We were like inside a nest. Our mission was to destroy these eggs in this nest. Well, we go to the fucking nest, dude, and like there was probably, I'm not kidding, Mayo, probably like 400 bugs just all around us, dude. We could not, for the life of us, we could not call in airstrikes fast enough. And then guess what? Once you call in airstrikes, like I said, they're on a fucking cooldown. So yeah, you called in an airstrike, you might have killed 20 bugs, but now you have another 400 coming at you.
Right.
And your airstrike is on a 4-minute cooldown. 4 minutes while you're surrounded by 400 fucking things trying to eat your face off. You're fucking fucked. It's so crazy, dude. So me and this guy, we just kept fucking dying and dying, and he would die, and I would call him in, and then I would die, and then he would call me in, and then I'd spawn in, and then I'd have enough like 2 seconds, enough time to shoot 5 bugs, and then I'd die, and then he'd call me back in. Then we'd both die. Then we'd both get spawned in, and then we both die again because as soon as we spawn in, all the bugs are right there. It was a shit show. So like, yeah, the game really, the difficulty is tied to how many things are on screen at once. But like, say, man, I know some people that play this game and they've never fought the bugs once, not once, because they've been fighting the automatons the whole time, which is the robot Terminator looking guys. And I like fighting the bugs because I've learned the kind of like the meta of the bugs, like I've learned what they do, what certain bugs do, how they act, how they attack you, when they're about to spit on you, like the acid that they spit out of their mouth. Like I've learned the ways they work, right? I've studied them, Mayo. I fought them. I studied my enemy. I know what I'm doing in the battlefield, Mayo. Okay?
Okay.
Listen,
You're a park
hide
veteran
behind
now.
you next time I play.
but
Yeah, me too.
listen, you throw me against them fucking automatons, I'll probably get wrecked, dude, because I don't know what it's like, like I fought them a few times. Yeah, I went over there and did a few missions. I did a few defense missions, to save some planets, and we've conquered a few planets. But I haven't really been over there to fight the crazy looking things. I know they have like on the bug side, there's like a big bug, right? This motherfucker's called the Bio Titan, and he's the size of a building, Mayo. I'm not exaggerating. You've probably never seen it, but
I've
this
seen a couple big
motherfucker,
ones, but I don't know which ones they are.
no, this motherfucker is the biggest one, Mayo. He's the size of a building. I'm telling you, he's the size of a fucking building, Mayo. He's big,
like
okay?
He's like an Ohio bug, right?
He's a building that walks on 4 legs like a spider, and it comes from across. You could see that motherfucker from like a mile away. You could just see it. It'll fucking spawn in, and you're like, oh fuck. You're like, oh fuck. Everyone starts marking him. Everyone starts reading their airstrikes ready, and you guys start calling in your guns, your rocket launchers and shit, because you're gonna need it to take this motherfucker out. All right, and sometimes not one spawns, Mayo, but 3 of them motherfuckers will spawn. And now you're fighting 3 of them, and guess what? Airstrikes may work on 1 of them or 2 of them, but that 3rd one, you're going to be fighting him for like 5 minutes straight just to kill him because you don't have any airstrikes left. You're hoping one of your guy kites that motherfucker long enough so you can reload your rocket launcher so you could hit it with it. But I've also unlocked this really cool rocket launcher. It's called the recoilless rifle, and it's a rocket launcher. It comes with a backpack, and you have like one shot. They're like one-shot bullets, right? Like one-shot rockets. But these one-shot rockets can do like on the big Charger guys. They're like the size of a car. Think of like a F-350 or something. They're big motherfuckers. They're really armored, is what they are, and they charge you. They're called Chargers. and they run at you and they'll slam up against you and they'll send you flying and then they'll stomp on you or whatever. And they're really hard to kill because your bullets really do nothing to them because they're all armored up. So these guys, I figured out that you can kill them with one really good place shot from one of those recoilless rifles. So my go-to weapon right now is that fucking rifle, rocket launcher thing, and I carry that motherfucker with me everywhere. I don't care. Everyone else is using like this little drone thing that flies around and shoots little bugs, or they're using like the shield backpack. Not me, man. I'm using that motherfucking rocket launcher. I don't care. It's rocket launcher all day, bro. Because guess who they're running towards when that motherfucking big 3-story building bug spawns? They're all running at me because they know I have the rocket launcher, and one good hit with that rocket launcher could stagger that fucking building guy pretty good. And with 2 hits, I can kill it. So, yeah, man, I really fucking like Helldivers, dude. It's so fucking
I can
cool.
tell, man. It
Yeah,
sounds like a good game.
everybody I hear that plays the game, they're like, "Oh, this game is so good." You know, they're like, "Oh, who was it? Gunny just in our
Mojo?
one chat. Yes, Mojo picked it up, and he was like, "Oh, this is great." You
Yeah.
know, and Leahy's been enjoying it. Now that my boy is pretty much done playing it, you know, he's moved on. I can play it because of the shared account.
It's so
Oh,
much fun, dude. Like,
I did one
Like-
mission today, Jesus, and it was really simple. So it was literally like go
Yeah.
to like a little radio tower and stop the transmission. And so you just go. I
Mhm.
went there by myself. Maybe like 20 bugs were there. Went there. Okay, like this is what I have to do. And then you had to do a little key prompt, you know, to like stop it. Then you had to like change the frequency to 100%. So you had to mess around with that. That was kind of
Yeah.
weird at first. And then like once it was set at 100%, you just had to wait for the pickup, you know. And then
You
when you go there and
know-
wait, and you
you
get
know
hit
what-
with like
you
a little
know-
wave.
You know what
I
else
made
you
it
could have
through
done?
okay. What's that?
You could have went in there with the rocket launcher and shot the tower with the rocket launcher and blew up the tower, and it's mission completed.
Well, see, if I would have had a rocket launcher, this would have
See?
worked.
This is what
See,
a
you and your
veteran of the
peon
bug war
drone.
knows, Mayo.
Actually, there was some kind of little rocket launcher things. Like I grabbed it one time, and
See?
it was like one shot.
If you were a goddamn veteran of the bug wars like I am, you would know this shit. You go in there with the goddamn auto cannon or a fucking recoilless rocket launcher, you call that bitch in, and you just fucking stand 3 miles away and you shoot that tower with that thing. Guess what? It says mission completed. You destroyed the broadcast. Good job. And then you take off.
Nice.
And
Yeah,
you
I didn't
never
really
even-
find any ammo. Like I ran out of ammo the one time for my main gun, so I had to call in the strategen, you know, to bring down some ammo. You know, I kind of got to mess with that and see how that all
Yeah.
worked. But
The stratagems are cool, man. I really like the whole like in the moment, like you're in a fucking crazy firefight and you're being chased by 50 bugs and you're the last one left alive and you're trying to call in your buddies back in and reinforcement. And it's so intense, dude. Like you just and you fuck it up and you're like, oh fuck. And you're trying to dive out of the way and the bugs are chasing you and they're coming at you and oh, it's so intense, dude.
yeah, Blaze, I don't know
And
how much you've seen of this, but when you do a strategen, you have key prompts you have to do. It's like left, left, down, up, right, down, or something like that, and then it'll activate it. But you have to pull it up and you have to look at it, and you got
Yeah.
whatever going on screen, you know, and you're like trying to figure it out.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
I
the
haven't
game-
watched any of it yet, but I've heard
So
like
good.
so many people love it. So it's one of the hottest games right now. It seems like.
It's fucking fun, dude. And like I said, man, I've just had some really cool matches with people where like we get in there and we fuck things up. And I've also had matches where we bit off way more than we could chew. And we get in there thinking we're hot shit. We're veterans of this war. We know what we're doing. And the bugs show us real quick who's boss in that fucking planet. And they fuck us up, dude. Oh man, there's some matches where we knew we didn't stand a chance. Me and this one guy, we were like, dude, we don't stand the chance. I told the guy, run, just fucking. He's like, where do you want me to run? He's like, there's nowhere to run. There's 500 bugs on this fucking screen. There's nowhere. I'm like, fucking run, just run. And he's like, where do I run, Jesus? He's like, where? Where the fuck do you want me to run? He's like, I can't fucking run. Oh, just run. He's all fucking. We both died in that mission. We could not run. There was nowhere to run. We couldn't run. There was too many bugs. It was fucked. But yeah, man. And then there's been missions where, like, at the last second, we pull it off. Like, because you know the timer. When you have a timer on the screen, right? And like I said before, the timer is the time you want to complete the mission. And because the faster you complete the mission objectives and get out of there, it gives you like a little bit of an XP bonus if you have time left
Yeah, I got
over.
that in that little mission I did. It had,
But
even though I was by myself, I
If-
got done early.
But there's sometimes where we get a little carried away and we start going after all those fucking hives and we start going around the entire map to try to kill everything. And the timer may or may not run out. And if it does run out when you get to the extraction, well, guess what? Then you cannot call in reinforcements. So, like, if somebody dies, that's it. That motherfucker is out the rest of the match. And if you call in the fucking extraction and the bugs start spawning to attack the extraction point, you guys are fucked because you cannot call in airstrikes anymore. You can't call in a resupply to get more ammo. You can't call in your special weapons that you can use. So that's why it's important to kind of keep an eye on the timer and try to not run out of time. But it's kind of impossible sometimes because you get carried away and you start doing little side shit, and before you know it, you got a minute left and you're not even close to the extraction, and you're like, well, might as well call in all my shit right now because I don't have time to get to the extraction. So I'm going to call in a resupply, all my secondary weapons. I'm going to call in my airstrikes if I can right now, and hopefully kill enough bugs to make it to the extraction and get out. But yeah, man, I fucking love Helldivers too. Like, I really do. That game is so much fun. Like, yeah, I played a little bit more Call of Duty this week too, and it's fun, but it's not Helldivers fun, man. Like, it's just the chaos that goes on in that game is what makes that game so much fun, dude. Like, the crazy story. I can't wait to get in there with you, Mayo, because we're going to have some crazy shit going on, dude. And you're going to be like, holy fucking shit. What the fuck did you bring me into, Jesus? I remember the first time I played with these random guys, right? We were on the Bug Planet, and it was like the first or second week the game came out. And these guys, we were fighting these bugs, and then I told them, hey, you guys want to go fight some robots? And they're like, yeah, sure. We don't know what that means. I got him on the robot planet. They were like, where the fuck did you bring us, Jesus? What the fuck is this? There's like a Terminator spawning everywhere, chasing us across the entire map. These guys were freaking the fuck out. They're like, what the fuck? They're like, because the Bug Planet was all like nice and sunshine. We get over to the Terminator planet. It's all fucking rainy, thunderstorms. There's fucking fog everywhere. You can't see 10 feet in front of you. There's like 600 robots everywhere just spawning in, fucking chasing you. It was mayhem. And they were all freaking out. It was awesome. So yeah. Some of the experiences are really cool in that game, man. It's just it's about getting in there with the decent group and hoping they don't kick you for whatever reason. I've been kicked out of matches before where like I was playing with these dudes and they were all like level 50. So you could tell they were all like, there were those assholes that were like the super hardcore guys, like, oh, I'm better than you because I'm level 50.
Yeah, this hobo level 30 joined us, and you're like,
a hobo level 30 that I joined them, and then I think we beat the mission, but like these guys were really good at the game, dude. Like I don't think they fucking died once. I legit don't think I saw them die. I've died like 4 times in like 10 seconds. And these motherfuckers were just doing like they weren't even together. That's the crazy part. They were like all doing like different things on the map. Like one guy was on the south part of the map. The other guy was on the west part of the map. The other guy was up in the north doing some other shit. And they're all doing their own thing, fighting like 1,000 bugs each.
He's over there in the east dying, nothing right.
And I'm over there just kind of spawning, trying to do my own thing too. I could help. And I was fucking getting wrecked. I'm like, no way. I don't know what the fuck I'm playing with these guys, but these motherfuckers are on some next level shit. These guys are like this is like the goddamn Navy SEALs of fucking Helldivers. These guys were good, dude. So, yeah. Anyways, that's all I played this week. I look forward to playing some more Helldivers. I look forward to playing some more News Tower. I look forward to playing some more some Ronin. I think that comes out tomorrow, right?
Oh, is that soon already?
22nd.
Oh, no. So Friday. But tomorrow, what I do look forward to trying too, though, is Battlefield Season 7 drops tomorrow. We're getting a new map. I think it's called like Chile or something like that. It's based in South America, of course, in Chile. And it's like a map and a rundown, like almost like a what do you call those places? Like the ghettos in Brazil. What the fuck are they called, Gunny?
Shanties? No, not shanties.
Not called shanties. What the fuck are the ghettos in Brazil called?
I forgot. I remember when they had the Olympics there. They had a name for it.
Yeah, hold on. I'm gonna find it. Ghettos in Brazil called. Oh, wait. Oh,
While you're looking that up, though, I haven't actually seen the Helldivers gameplay, but hearing you talk about it, it kind of reminds me of the Call of Duty Ghost Extinction mode. Like, it sounds similar to that. Is there a relation there?
it is, but it's not. It's way more
Okay,
chaotic. It's
got it.
more open. It's more
I
open
remember
world.
Extinction being like really chaotic with the aliens and stuff.
It is, yeah, but like there is a boundary to the map. It's more open world though. Like it's really like yeah, you have main objectives, but you can fuck off and do other shit and find random side objectives that you can do really fast. But yeah, it is kind of like extinction mode, but better, like way better. It's way
Okay.
better. But yeah, they're called favelas. So I think this map is called Favela actually, and it's based in Chile. And the other map we're getting, I don't know if you remember back in the day, Mayo, but Battlefield of 2042, when it originally came out on the Dubai map, there was a stadium. Remember, there was like a football stadium.
Yeah, I remember having a couple of
Yeah.
big
And
showdowns in there.
remember that.
you remember when that when they redid the maps for rebalancing purposes, they redid some of the maps. They like changed the spawn points and shit. And remember, they took off the stadium. They like removed it. Like that wasn't a spawn point anymore. And now they're adding it like as like a. I think they're calling it stadium. Is what the map is called. So I don't know if it's going to be part of the other map or if it's just like its own thing now. But it is that exact stadium from that mode from that. So it's kind of weird that they're calling it a new map because it really isn't new. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's new, but not really. Like you're reusing the asset you already had it made. You already know what the fuck it looked like. You're just
People
bringing
people
it
are gonna
back as
know it
its own
already
thing.
probably as well, right? Because
Yeah,
those
yeah, it's not
corridors
gonna.
you can go down and the people are gonna know right
Yeah,
away. They're gonna be
it's
familiar with
not.
it.
It's not the exact same. I mean, it's not like a whole new thing. It's not like they remade the stadium. It's the same fucking stadium. It's just its own thing now, I guess. So I think they have that now. But they're adding new guns to the game, new guns to Battlefield. They're adding a couple new vehicles. I think one of them is like a stealth jet, and it looks like a. Think of like what's that? The stealth bomber that the U.S. has, like the Nighthawk. That had like, what is that? What it's called? The fucking stealth bomber, Gunny. God damn it, the fucking
I don't
stealth
know. I
bomber.
don't know these things. I'm
The
Gunny.
fucking
Okay, I'm not Air Force captain here.
Gunny Chief. God damn it. U.S. stealth bomber. Whatever the fuck it's called, the B2. That looks like that. It looks like the B2 bomber, and apparently it could go invisible while you're flying it. So that's kind of a cool little gadget for it or whatever. Maybe it's harder to spot when you're at a distance, and you come in and do a bombing run and then go stealth mode again and take off. So kind of cool. I'm not a big fan of the vehicles in terms of jets in the game, but I'll definitely try it out when I see the chance to. But yeah, Battlefield Season 7 is coming out. And I do know for the people that are interested that don't have Battlefield, they are having like a free week of Battlefield, I guess. They're saying that like anyone can play Battlefield. You just download it for free for the week and then you can try it out or whatever to try out this new
Well, it's
season.
also part of Game Pass, right? And then it's
Well,
already
yeah, it
out
is
there.
part of
It's
Game
it's
Pass.
on it's on Steam right now on the spring, or is it the spring sale? For
Yeah.
$9.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
really
the,
$8.99.
cheap.
they also announced they're having like that free weekend. So I think on anything on Xbox, PlayStation, and Steam, I guess, or PC, you can play it for free for the week and check it out if you don't want to spend any money on it. But you're right, Mayo. It is part of Game Pass, and it's also part of that EA Play,
EA Play.
EA Play, which is available on
Yeah.
everything. EA Play is on
You know, I
PlayStation. It's on Xbox and everything.
the times I've played this with you, I played it off of Game Pass every time. I've never
Yeah.
actually picked it up and bought it. I wonder if I should just buy it now for $9 and have it on Steam that way.
I
You
mean,
ever
if you
notice
have
a
Game
difference
Pass,
between the Game Pass version or the Steam version? Is there really any difference, or
never,
does it just take you to it? Yeah, because it goes to the
No,
EA
I
launcher
played
with
never.
with
Game
you
Pass,
guys on
right?
the PC
Because
version.
it all launches the Origin launcher.
Yeah, I gotcha.
Yeah.
So the Xbox launches the Origin launcher, and then Steam will launch the Origin
I'll just
launcher.
leave it on Game Pass and play it that way then.
So yeah, just leave it. If anything, spend the money and buy the season pass for $10. There you go. You get more content out of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what I look forward to playing this week, man. I really am hyped for Battlefield. That new map looks really cool. The favela one. It looks pretty neat. And they released a trailer for it, like a new trailer for the upcoming season or whatever. And the trailer, it looked more Battlefield than any of the other Battlefield trailers they've ever released or any other content they've ever released. So I look forward to playing that. Anyways, what have you been playing, Mayo or Gunny? I don't care.
I'll jump in real quick. Like I said, I played a little bit of Helldivers the last 2 days. Just a couple little missions to check it out. That first time, like I said, jumped in, couldn't get into a game. I just kind of left it. I played through the tutorial, and then the second time, I did that one mission just real quick tonight. The other thing, Jesus, most of my time again has been on the PS5, and I finally finished The Last of Us 2's remake. So a remaster, I guess that's the word, right? I don't know which one it's called anymore, but that game, I really like that story, Jesus. I got more attached to Abby as the game went along. I don't know about you, but I started liking her character a little more. And then there's some of the choices that Ellie was making in that game. It's just kind of like, really? I remember hearing Nightbron say as well, like he didn't like the way they kind of did Ellie in the series, like how she kind of changed a little bit. And I don't know if it's spoilers. I guess if somebody doesn't want to know the story or whatever, you might want to skip ahead a little bit here, but when she
Spoiler
leaves,
alert.
when she leaves Dina the last time, like I thought, the game kind of finished. It shows that little scene, and you're like on a farm, and you're back there with Dina, and she's had her baby, and you just get done doing the little fight scene between Abby and Ellie, and I'm like, okay, it's finally done, and you're doing this whole thing, and then when Ellie starts having those visions about with Joel dying and stuff, she decides to leave and go after Abby again, and I'm like, what are you doing? Like it was such a weird. Like I thought the game was gonna end. He had this big fight with Abby already. Abby kicked her ass, and she's like, "Don't let me ever see you again," kind of thing. I'm like, oh, okay, like that was an interesting ending. That's because I didn't know how they would do it. Well, like, were they gonna kill
Yeah.
one of them off? I didn't know what was gonna happen. And even that scene where they're fighting in the water was kind of cool, where it was all foggy and and you're like doing the dodge. I thought it was really cool little done out ending to the game. I thought at the time. And then it gave me this whole little thing again. It's like you're in the house. I'm like going through this, thinking it's gonna be this little cinematic exit, and then she's like, "Oh, I'm gonna go find her again." And then the next thing you know, it goes back to Abby, and you're in Santa Barbara, and I'm like, "Okay, all this. How much more do I have?" And I paused the game. I go to the PlayStation menu, and I had like 10% more to go or something. And so I played through that last little bit. It felt kind of tacked on. I felt like the game could have ended, like I said, where they ended in that farmhouse. But when she left Dina, I'm like, that was kind of a weird thing, like Dina was like, "Don't go, don't do this," and I was like, she had already she already ran into Abby once, and Abby, pretty much beat her. They almost killed each other, and they both kind of decided to stop, But it was weird to have Ellie go after her, like one more time.
Yeah.
And then once I did beat the game, Jesus, I thought it was kind of cool. I noticed right away it tells me I have New Game Plus unlocked. So I'm like, okay, New Game Plus, I don't think I'm gonna play back through it. It's a pretty long game. But the title screen was different. Before, the title screen had just like a boat, and it was like foggy water, and it had like the amusement park background. You could see the Ferris wheel and all that stuff in the background. And then when you beat the game, it was shown like a boat, and it was kind of beached, and it's kind of shown like the island where you did that whole series of fights on. So I thought that was kind of a neat little change. So they added that. And then I think I have not done it yet, but I think it unlocked the roguelike mode. I couldn't remember what it was last week, but it's a roguelike mode where it would put you in random scenarios with your characters, and you can play through that. I have not played through that yet, but since I like roguelikes, I am going to give it a shot. I'll be able to talk about it more next week. But that was kind of cool. And then the other thing too, it pulled up all this extras option, and in the extras, it has stuff like where you can play through the game again with basically like cheats enabled. So but you have to buy the cheats. So it gave me so many credits for beating the game. I had like 590 credits, right? And you could buy a cheat where every enemy in the game was one shot kill, and it was like 10 credits, and you could turn it on and off whenever you wanted, or you could turn on one shot kill melee attacks, or you could just turn on infinite, like it's better vision when you use the checking mode. You're trying to upgrade that to see how far you can hear when you're doing the stealth stuff. You could turn on like further range, like infinite range for all that kind of stuff. So you could turn on all these different abilities, and then you could also unlock skins for the guns. They had skins for the characters, and stuff like that. So that I thought that was kind of neat, but nothing I'm going to dive into except for maybe I can use them in the roguelike mode would be kind of neat. But it was a good game overall. I was kind of like disappointed in the ending in a way, but it was a good story overall. Like I said, and I didn't mind playing as Abby. I kind of dreaded it at first. When I hit the 50% mark in the game, I felt like I've been playing a while, and I'm like, oh man, I'll do this all over as Abby now. But once I got going with some of her storyline, I kind of got into it a little more, and I was actually enjoying her, like I said, more than Ellie at some points. And I'm like, okay, I can relate with this a little more, or okay, she's doing this, and you can kind of see her changing and being more of a friendly character than what you see her at the beginning of the game. And she
Yeah.
starts helping Liv and the other person. I can't remember their name, but and she's going through, and then she spares Abby. When they fight the first time, she or not Abby, but Ellie. She spares Ellie, and she pretty much is pummeling her. And she almost kills Dina, and then she decides not to and walks away. Like being the bigger person kind of thing. And that's when, like I said, it's kind of by surprise by Ellie sending her. She decides to go back after her again. After all that happened. So I was just kind of like thought it was different, and I'm curious to see how the TV show does with all that, and how people will take that. But good game overall. I really enjoyed it. But yeah, definitely, I'm gonna play some of that. I think it's called like No Mercy or something like that, with the roguelike version of the game later on throughout this week, and I can let you guys know more about that. But the other stuff I've been playing is I've still been playing a little bit of Deep Rock Survivor. Trying to play higher difficulty levels on that. That game, even though it's only $10, I don't know if you ever did check it out, Jesus. It's kind of like Vampire Survivors. The only thing I don't care for about it does get kind of repetitive pretty quick because you only have a few different missions you're doing, and you have the same boss at each mission. So when you spawn a Juggernaut at the end on the 5th one, that you just know that's going to be it. It just gets harder, more difficult. Like you said, kind of like in Helldivers, there's more bugs that come in. And I noticed in the easier difficulties, that game, they give you more of the bugs that explode. There's like these little like spider-looking ones, and they explode when you get near them. When you start playing the higher difficulties, you get less of those. So you're
Yeah,
like,
you want
you
more of
gotta
those.
start killing. You gotta start killing more bugs. You can't rely on them things just blowing up and taking out whole big waves of them. Now you gotta really focus on using your weapons and killing everything on you by yourself. So you're like going through and you got to really make sure you're kind of paying more attention to your upgrades and stuff like that. But Nico and I
Yeah.
yesterday we were trying to play through it, and we are trying to get past the one magma level on the higher difficulty, and we were both having a hard time. So it's definitely a game where you still got to like keep grinding through and getting stronger and stuff. But pretty cool. I still like it. Even though it is repetitive, it's a fun game. You can kind of get in there and do a couple rounds and then get out. If you're just looking for something to play for a little bit.
And it's a
And
great
then
game on the Steam Deck.
I bet it is a good Steam Deck game. I actually looked. I thought about. I was like, man, this would be a good game for my Switch because I don't have a Steam Deck. Unless I borrow my boys. And I didn't. I don't think it was on the Switch because I ended up not picking it up. But yeah, mobile seems like
Yeah,
a good way to play
it's
that game.
I would kind of wait because it's still in that kind of that beta form. So I could
Yeah,
definitely
and
see
I'm
it
sure they'll have
coming to
more.
Switch as well. Definitely
Yeah, I'd like to
playable on
see
a
some. I'd
lower
like to see
end
some more enemies
handheld.
in the game, like more variants to the last boss kind of thing.
Yeah,
But
yeah, because you're right. It's the same bugs over and over.
it's the
Just
same
different
pattern of the last
variations.
boss. He doesn't change up. Like Jesus says, this boss here, it's one big giant bug, and he walks behind you. When you get so far away, he stops and he jumps across the map toward you. And all you have to do is like a 90-degree turn one way or another, and let him jump by you, and you can just keep shooting him. You still have to avoid all the other bugs and stuff, but like that pattern is the same pattern like every time. You just got to
Yeah.
watch all the other bugs and watch your
The
legends because
hunter
you have
one.
yeah, it's a dreadnought maybe or juggernaut. It's something like that. It's a really big bug. It's just like the biggest one on the map, and no,
Juggernaut.
it's the
He's a
same
little
pattern every
slower,
time.
but he will. Yeah, once you get a little further away from him,
He
he'll
does a ton of
jump at
damage. If
you.
he jumps over you, it doesn't really technically clear you until he hits you, and he'll do like 80 damage on a hit, and you only have like 200 health, so you got to be careful. Like 3 hits will kill you. But
Yeah, I think the
besides, go ahead, Kenny.
remember that Mayo. I beat him. I think it was on the second highest difficulty. I beat him, and I was like, yes, yes, yes. And then I would go to get on the drop ship, and I died right on the steps of the dread ship. The ship.
Yeah,
I was like,
that has
so
happened a couple
close.
times on
Yeah.
different things where I've had the drop ship come down on top of lava. The level that has the lava, there's like magma on the ground. You can't walk across it, you get burned. and I've had my door like right on the magma, so I have to like run across the magma and take damage going into the next level. You know,
Hmm.
because your health carries with you for over each level, and
But then
you
you
have like
can
5
buy
levels
a
to do.
health, right? But then if you
Now you
buy
can
a
buy the
health,
health, but you don't want to waste the
right,
money, you know, so you
that's
can
one
do
less
upgrades.
thing, one less upgrade you get to purchase.
Yeah, so but overall, like I said, for $10, I really enjoyed this game. It's it's
Yeah, I
something
think
easy to quickly get in.
that was
And
the best purchase I ever made for the Steam Deck or for Steam overall. Recently.
yeah, and then the last game I played, this is like an Xbox game. I actually brought the Xbox into my bedroom TV just to kind of play something in here a little bit. And I ended up downloading a couple games, Gunny, and I ended up jumping on Persona 3 Reload. I kept hearing good about it, I'm like, you know what? I tried to play this one time through the streaming on my Xbox without downloading it to see if I would even like it. And it didn't grab me that day, but then I'm like, I'm gonna try this again. So I re-downloaded it, and I wasn't streaming it this time. That way I can play without any kind of worry about latency or anything like that. And it starts off kind of slow, and there's a lot of talking. And I'm not a fan of games where Gunny, where you got to sit there and be like talking to a person, and they'll give you like a 3-word sentence, and then you got to hit A to continue, and they give you like
Yeah,
a
yeah.
4-word sentence. You got to hit A again. It's just like, oh, come on
Right.
already.
Right. They're very
Um,
short.
yeah, I hate those really short dialogues, and you're just hitting A, you're hitting A, hitting. Well, I thought it was really cool. Like, I don't know if it was available right away or they kind of like let it unlock at a certain point, like early in the game. But when you hit X, it turns on auto, and it just lets the conversation flow. So you never
Right.
have to stop there and hit A between each point of dialogue. It just continues to flow through at a nice pace, and so like I didn't have to sit there and keep hitting A over and over. So that was like a game changer right there. I'm like, oh, this is just so much better already, and it's still, I looked at this game up and it's like, what, 70 some hours to complete just a minimalist of the story or something like that. It's like a really, really long game. But I can see why, because I probably spent 45 minutes probably doing just intro stuff without ever even seeing the combat in the game. You start off with this little series you're walking through and you get to this dorm and it's kind of weird, and you're in a girl's dorm, but they give you a room because that's all they have, and this kid, he's talking to him and he disappears, and you're like, "What's going on?" And you meet the girl, then it shows you going to school because you're like high school kids, and then you're like, it shows you around the school and it talks about like your schoolwork and all this kind of thing, and it keeps just telling you, okay, go home. You're really tired. Go home and go to bed. That's basically the only option the game gives you to do. And then you start seeing why. And then finally, you get to the point you get to combat, and it's just like, okay, finally, I can see what the combat's like in this game. And it's very much, it's turn based. But the game kind of grew on me a little bit today, so I played it some today, and I'm like, kind of want to dive back into it now. And just getting past
I don't think I
the
made it
combat and stuff.
that
Get that.
far I mean, I made it to the school, but I don't think I made it to the combat yet.
Yeah, it takes a couple minutes. Like you got to do like 2 or 3 days of school just before you get to the combat, and then now I'm kind of curious because the art style is kind of cool, and then the music finally changed. Like I finally got some better music because it kept playing the same music over and over, and I'm just like, okay, I'm getting tired of this music already and all this stuff. But it changed once the combat started coming in, and you seen this monster looking thing you got to fight and stuff. I'm like, okay, this is kind of cool, and it does play like turn-based Final Fantasy. When you get combat, it just shows these two little weak enemies I had to fight, and your options were either attack, parry, or persona. I think this is a persona, and basically that's like your super. I think you could call it, kind of like something we would have Jesus in Final Fantasy 16 when you call those ultimates in. You would have something like that. But you use it the one time and you get the achievements like unleashing your power or something like that. I got that achievement and stuff, but seemed like it might be a cool game. I'm definitely going to try and check this out some more this week. Just kind of something now that that whole combat thing is, turn based. I can just sit back and chill and play. And then I guess there's a lot of cutscene in between combat and stuff. So like now you can just let it run just by hitting it, leave it on auto. But it is way better, I think. That's a nice option. I wish a lot of more games would have that option.
Yeah, I think the last two personas that I played, just a little bit of I played, I had to really just sit there and hold my finger over the A button. I
And
don't
I
remember there
never
being like an auto to those. Maybe
Yeah,
that's
and I
new
just
for
happened to
Persona
notice it,
3.
so I don't know if it just got unlocked or what, or like how it was, because I didn't notice it early on in the game, and then I seen it, and it shows in the bottom right, it shows like hit A for next, and then it says auto, and you got to hold X for a second, it kind of does that little circle around the X button, and it shows it to
Yeah.
confirm, and it says like, and then after that, all the dialogue just automatically flowed without ever having to hit A over and over. I don't know if that's like an upgrade, in this reload, or like I said, I don't know anything about the series. It's just this is the newest one, and I just thought I'd jump in on it and see what it was like because it's on Game Pass, and I think I might like it.
Nice.
But that's pretty much like all I've been playing. I'm trying to think. I was looking for something on the PlayStation, but I haven't played anything. And I was looking a little bit on the Xbox, and I haven't seen anything to jump. I did download Starfield again. I don't know if I'm gonna jump into it or not, but this is like the 4th time I've tried to download it and maybe jump into that game. But I want to like it, but every time I jump into it, I'm just not in the mood or I don't like it. So we'll see. We're gonna try it one more time.
Come on, Mayo, you can do it. You can do it. Choose a
Exactly.
character and just go.
Right. But that's all I've been playing. Gunny, what about you?
What have I been playing? I didn't play. Actually, didn't play get a lot of game time this weekend. But I finally did get Final Fantasy the 14, the beta, which is on Xbox Blaze. So I
Nice.
think I don't know if it's open for just like Game Pass or just everybody in general. I think, yeah, I can't remember where you even find that. Somewhere I went to the store and I was like, oh, that's actually a beta that's out. So, but it didn't work for me last week. And finally this week I fired it up today. But it even said on there like, hey, we're going to be doing maintenance. And I looked at the date and I'm like, that's today. Great. So let's see how much of it.
Right?
Yeah. Let's see how much if I can actually get into the game. But I made it like on the sea voyage on a ship and made it to land. And I don't know how much more left I have in like the tutorial of it, but I got to like basically the introduction once you land, and it was like, okay, maintenance mode, here we go, shutting down all the servers. So I was like, great. So, but yeah, I'll see how it goes further in the week and see if I can actually make it. Hopefully, it saved like my progress, like my character and everything. So
Mhm.
we'll see if I don't have to start over, because I think if I do, I'm like, oh man, do I really want to continue with this crap? Like just to go through the whole thing again. I don't really want to. Might just wait. So, yeah, another game on Game Pass I fired up called No More Heroes 3. I don't think I've ever played a No More Heroes game, but you can check this out, Blaze. It's one of the latest games coming to Game Pass, but yeah,
I've definitely
definitely
heard the name, but I don't know what it's about.
yeah, it's the humor is hilarious. Like in the like when you first start out, it cracks me up where I guess there's basically these aliens that come down, but they look more like mechanical aliens to me, but really cool art style. So it's funny when they come down and they're like, oh, I'm going to destroy this place. And they put a big hole in the ground. And then you, as your character, you kind of come out of this house and you've got another male and female character next to you. And one of them's like, oh gosh, I can't remember her name, but like you basically come out and you're like, what the hell's going on? And you're like the hero for the world, right? For Earth. And these like alien creatures come over and they're just like, yeah, what's up? We're here to fucking just destroy the place, and you as the hero, you're like, I think your name is like Travis something or rather. And you kind of look over to your like female other hero and you're like, all right, you know how to destroy these guys? She's like, yeah, just beat the fucking shit out of them, like just that
Right.
kind of humor, right? She's got like the bat and everything. And then it kind of goes into the combat from there. And then you teleport up to like this spaceship, and it's kind of funny. There's like, yeah, weird. There's like a sushi place here on this alien ship. I guess that's kind of where you can buy health. And of course, he's like, yeah, I really got to use the restroom. And he's like, I really got to go. And this is where you save the game, by the way. Like just stuff like that. But it starts off where you can just kind of go into this room and there's like, and I think you're just kind of using like more of an electric sword, if anything, but pretty basic controls as far as an action game goes. Like, X is your kind of like your melee, and then, Y is the heavy attack. And I think B is like evade or something, or, or even like a block or something. I'm like, okay, cool. This is my kind of game. I like this sort of action stuff to it. So I beat those 3 characters. And it's a pretty good tutorial as far as like telling you like, on an Xbox controller, it's like, okay, if you hold the RB and move the right stick back and forth, like you can kind of recharge your sword basically, to where you can actually do damage on the enemies. I'm like, okay, right on. I've got that down. And then beat those characters. And then you kind of go into like this kind of boss fight on this character. But like after he killed me like 3 times, like, and I'm like, I don't even know how the frick I'm supposed to even kill this guy. So I don't know. I just stopped. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna uninstall this. This is not for me. The game's too hard, Mayo. It's too hard.
Uh-oh.
So
You gotta get that
I need
easy
a
mode.
baby mode.
Yes.
But yeah, I just played on normal. I don't know. I don't know if I'm gonna continue on with it or not, but it was nice to try for Game Pass. I think probably ultimately what I have to do is just go watch a YouTube video to go, oh yeah, when he actually does like this attack, you're supposed to be, in the air, like jumping or something, because there's just no way to kind of get out of it. So, but yeah, nice to try these Game Pass games without paying $1 extra for them. A lot of Project Zomboid on the PC. Little frustrated with that game. I don't know why. Maybe because I did a lot of actual house work outside this weekend, guys. Like Garden Simulator. So coming back to actually play games was like hard for me, So, but yeah, I thought I was getting really good, guys, with Project Zomboid and get my my mods in there and surviving as long as I can. But yeah, I was dying left and right, so it didn't quite work out as the way I wanted to. So I had to install my cheat modes back again. Infinite ammo, God mode, no clipping. So I don't know. At least I got my fix out of it, right, Mayo? That's the thing,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just go into God mode and just infinite ammo and just shoot every zombie in sight. So that's kind of where I ended. Am I going to continue with that playthrough? No, right? But at least I had to do that to kind of show the game that who's boss, and yeah, I'll fucking just kill every fucking zombie on that map. But yeah, had enough of that one, and currently just playing a little more Assassin's Creed Mirage, just going around Baghdad and doing various missions. It's kind of weird with this one where I still feel like as I traverse around the city, and it's not a lot of high structures, right? I don't know what year this is, but it's not exactly Rome or anything, or high, 12-story buildings, right? So, but it's like I'll be like, oh yeah, there's like an actual, like it'll go to a thing, it'll say, hey, there's an actual blacksmith over here, to kind of let you know. I guess it's for people that really just never played an Assassin's Creed game, but buy weapons, and just do different upgrades to them and shit like that. So it's okay. I'm getting more into it. So as I play it. So, but yeah, that's pretty much all I played. I didn't do a lot of Steam Deck gaming besides Deep Rock Galactic Survivor. So that's pretty much that. All I played, guys. Hopefully, and I'm just looking forward to Dragon's Dogma 2, guys.
All
Can't
right.
wait.
Yeah. I think we all are.
It's
Saving my money for it.
news time.
Pity, 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 pity.
Let's get into some news here, gentlemen. PlayStation 5 Pro, okay, it's coming supposedly, and apparently the specs have been leaked and are
What are these specs, Jesus?
they are indicating a significant jump in power offered by Sony. Okay, a recent YouTube video from Moore's Law is Dead revealed details about Sony's PS5 Pro, or Trinity, as it is supposed to be referred to as a code word internally. So, documents note that the PS5 Pro will be about 45% faster than the standard PS5 in terms of rendering power, while ray tracing is getting a huge boost of 2 to 4 times that of the standard PS5. There are also details included that point to a console GPU offering 33.5 teraflops of power. The standard PS5 has 10.28 teraflops. This is an enormous jump and represents something that we might see generation on generation, rather than something incremental as we saw with the PS4 Pro last generation. Elsewhere, there's also mention called something called PlayStation Spectral Super Resolution. Okay, PlayStation Spectral Super Resolution, Mayo.
We got
Okay,
that.
this is set to be Sony's own upscaling technology, as well as custom architecture for machine learning and PlayStation machine learning that could see support for up to 8K resolutions. That's right. Right. So,
Okay.
that's what we're saying. So we got 45% faster, standard power, whatever. Way more teraflops, about 3 times that of the PS5. And Mayo support up to 8K resolutions with spectral super resolution. That's right.
Didn't I see as well? I was in that recorded way, like a 4K 120 possibility with that resolution, like that as well. It's not gonna be true 4K, but
Fucking
I think
fly
that
now, man. Okay.
I read an article too. It was
Yeah,
kind of saying something about that.
I don't know, man. Okay.
Who wants 4K
No.
when you can have 8K, right, Jesus?
Yeah. That
But
that
I mean,
4K shit is old.
yeah. I mean, but then I just laugh because all I think of is it's still just probably a 4K image upscaled to 8K. So it's not really
I think if they come out with this and is actually like spec way more power than what it is currently, it's gonna sell pretty good. I think that if Xbox also comes out and they release a updated Xbox Series X with only a hardware like upgrade of a better hard drive, like a more bigger hard drive, they're gonna be in trouble.
Mhm.
They're not gonna be able
Yeah.
to compete because people are gonna always go for the one that has more power. It's been selling better. I mean, I guess you
But
can argue right now they haven't been going for the one that has more power because the Xbox
right now,
Series
yeah.
X outperforms the PS5, but the PS5 has been doing really well, man. And I don't know. I think that Xbox just can't compete at this point. I think
But
they're
I
gonna
wonder
take
how
the
many
L.
people are gonna go that have bought a PS5 will go buy a Pro because I don't feel like right now, like with my PS5, there's a lot of games that take full advantage of the 5. So how many games are gonna take full advantage of the Pro if not everything right now is taking full advantage of the 5? So that's
Yeah, and keep in
my
mind,
concern because like there is a couple games. Okay, yeah, this game or Spider-Man 2 on the PS5, is great, but like a lot of those games you can just play on the PS4. So it's like they don't really take advantage of the power of the PS5. So when the Pro comes out, is there going to be any kind of games that really fully take advantage of it, or is it just going to run them a little smoother? So it's just kind of like,
I think you hit it
will
right
that
there. It's
will
just
that
going to run
encourage
smoother.
people? Yeah, will that encourage people enough to go out and buy a whole new console? And what will that price be? Is it going to be 500 like the PS5 now? No. So are you willing to pay 600, 700 for a new PlayStation to play games that you can already play now with a little bit better frame rate? So I
Yeah.
mean, I'm all about frames. I love a more smooth gameplay, but it's different in the PC community because you can go way higher. Like your TVs are 120. You don't have any TVs that really go over 120 hertz. Where PCs, you got 144, you got 200, 280, 260. You got plenty of hertz in those different computer monitors. Where these TVs, 120 is kind of like the number they want to stick with. So even if you can get games at 4K 120, it's going to be great,
I
but it's
want
going to work fine.
8K.
Right. So, I mean,
8K.
I don't know. What do you think, Jesus? I know you kind of stepped away for us just a second, but I was saying, is that enough to like encourage people to really buy one? Because like if we're not utilizing the power of the PS5 already, right? Because pretty much most of the games come on PS4 and PS5. So why would you want to buy like a new one?
No, not necessarily. Most
I
PS5
mean,
games are coming only on the PS5.
Yeah, they're not coming to the
some
PS4
of
now
them.
because I have the
It's,
Pro.
it's not like the
Yeah.
They're not
Xbox where
coming
the
here.
Xbox
But so far
is
right
being
now,
held
everything
back
out.
by the Series
Yeah, but
S.
everything right now that's come out. How many games are exclusive to PS5 that come out
A
right
lot.
now?
A
Yeah,
lot.
there was quite a bit. Well,
Let me look
what?
at.
I don't
I
think there's
can't
a
think of
lot
all of
this
them.
7,
year
8?
that's exclusive to them though.
Okay.
Spider-Man,
Ratchet and Clank was the first one.
Ratchet and
Ratchet
Clank,
and Clank, Returnal, Destruction All Stars, Horizon Forbidden West, Final Fantasy VII Remake, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Gran Turismo 7,
that's
Sackboy,
not on that's not on PS4? Gran
no,
No,
Turismo? Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
Final Fantasy
not the new one. I
16.
don't think.
What else?
Could they run them on a PS4 or Pro? Yeah, they could, but they just because it's got the SSD, right? That's what they made
Yeah,
it for.
man.
I mean, they've even said, like, it's gonna be a while, right, before any kind of big first-party games come out from them. So it's like
Uh,
Yeah, I think that's what
right.
people are saying too. Like, there's not really a whole lot to look forward to on the PS5 this year.
Well, there's not this year, but I mean,
Final
give you
Fantasy,
more
which is
power.
out.
I
Besides
might
that,
just buy a PS5 Pro later this year if you're going to tell me there's more power. I want more power.
well, yeah, don't we
but
all?
but Mayo, I don't think. Just I'm gonna be the negative one here and just say that like so even with the PS5 Pro coming out like announced or it's not quite announced yet, but I don't think they're gonna like increase maybe the frames, right? I think maybe third party, I don't know, maybe first party they will, but I don't think they're gonna do it like you said. A Capcom always like they always keep their stuff like locked at 30 on console and locked on
60,
at
yeah.
60 on the PC, right? But I don't know about other third party developers, right? But I think, how because you always got to think about them, like how they think, okay, great, now I got to make a version for the S and a version for the X and a version for the PS5 vanilla and then the PS5 Pro, and for the PC. So they got like 5 different SKUs going,
Yeah, just
And
my initial thought, like way the market sits right now, like if a PS5 Pro came out like today, I would wait. Me personally, even though I prefer frame rate, there's just
Yeah.
enough right now that really takes full advantage of it. I feel.
Yeah, I don't think it'll
But
be
maybe
like
they will.
super popular versus the regular PS5, and then kind of what we alluded to earlier with the Xbox, like their goal isn't really to sell Xboxes. Their goal is to get more people on Game Pass. Like that's their entire business model at this point is like we want more people on Game Pass than are anywhere else.
Yeah, and that's why I think it was probably a smart thing to them for even Xbox to just do their own kind of Game Pass PC thing, right? And then say, you know what, we'll just put everything else on Steam as well. And you know what, why don't we just start putting more things on PS5? The number one selling console. If you can't beat them, join them. I don't know. I guess
Well, I
that's
think
their
that's
strategy.
an area where like PlayStation's kind of dropping the ball a little bit because if they ever decide to have like a PlayStation sort of Game Pass, they're going to be so far behind in that market that they're probably going to have a hard time taking track of that.
I mean, they kind of have something like it, the PS
Yeah.
Plus.
Yeah, they do have it.
I utilize it, and it does have some good games on there, but it's not quite the same as Game Pass. But there is some really good stuff on there, and a lot of times they do have games that are not on Game Pass that aren't PS exclusives on there. I can't think of what it's off the top of my
That's
head.
good
But
to
if I went and looked
differentiate
at
at
it,
least, yeah.
there is games on there that I can't. They're not Sony only games, but they're available on Xbox. But they're on the PS Plus, where I can play them on there in that subscription. To where they're not on Game Pass or but they are on Xbox. So it's like I've ran across games that way where I'm like, oh, cool, I can play this. And then they tend to give out better free games. I feel like personally, anymore Xbox kind of shied away when they did the games with gold and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
This month's games on PS Plus is a pretty good group of games. What's that one game, Gunny? It's starts with an S, where it's a fighting game. I think it's kind of like a fighting game, but every time you die, you get older. Sifu?
Yeah, Sifu. Yeah, it's on PS5 and PS4 this month.
So that game is included. So they give you some pretty good games. I almost bought that a couple of times on PC. But so there's some good games they give you where I feel like Game Pass anymore just gives you not Game Pass, but like when they were doing the games gold and all that kind of stuff, they just gave you games that you almost didn't hear of anymore. They just put their games on Game Pass, all the good stuff now.
Yeah.
Right.
These PlayStation ones, they just give you some random ones here every once in a while, and I'm like, okay, that's kind of a good one, So, but it's about the same price too. I think I pay.
Yeah, I think they're now like the same price. They've kind of matched each other.
And there's not as many titles on the PS Plus, but there's some pretty good ones on there.
Yeah. In other news, speaking of Game Pass and PlayStation and Xbox, Steam, Valve, Mayo,
Yes.
has announced Steam Families, a revamped program that allows players to create a group to share and play games with close family members. The program launches today in the Steam beta client, and it replaces Steam Family sharing and Steam Family View features. Steam Families can have up to 6 members, and joining gives you access to any shareable games in each member's library. Shareable games is an important distinction, as family sharing is a feature that any developer can choose to opt out of for any reason at any time. Some games are also ineligible for sharing due to technical reasons. Noteworthy games currently eligible for family sharing include Helldivers 2, Baldur's Gate 3, Balatro, Cyberpunk 2077, Elden Ring, and Hogwarts Legacy. While playing a game that a family member owns, you will create your own save files, earn your own achievements, and have access to workshop files, among other features. When you purchase a game, it still remains in your ownership and only appears in your own library. 2 members cannot play one copy of a game at the same time. For example, if 2 members want to play co-op using members' one copy of Helldivers 2, member 2 will have to buy their own copy or play another copy owned by a different member in the family. Steam has released a FAQ that answers some of the questions, including parental controls and how to manage child purchases. It says here, members can leave a Steam family at any time. However, that person will have to wait 1 year before creating or joining a new family. Additionally, vacant family slots cannot be filled for 1 year. Family members can also kick out other members of the family. Children in a Steam family cannot leave on their own and must be removed by an adult in the family. Shared family games can be played offline. Playing a member's game also provides access to any shareable DLC they own. You can change which Steam family member's copy of a game you play, though if one has a different DLC than the other, your save may not work. With the exception of child members, you cannot restrict family members from playing a game you own. If a family member gets banned for cheating while playing your copy of a game, you will also be banned from the game. So,
Wow.
yeah.
Gunny, make sure your boy ain't cheating over there on his.
All right. So I should definitely kick him out of the family.
I gotta make
as,
sure
previous,
Ryan's over there cheating and using my games now. I gotta be careful.
as previously mentioned, some games are ineligible for family sharing due to technical reasons, and they include games that require an additional third-party key, account, or subscription in order to play. Any free-to-play game and any purchased DLC for those games, or any free DLC for a game. Games or DLC that is restricted in your or the borrower's region. Games that do not support the borrower's operating system. Game that publishers have marked explicitly as unavailable for sharing, and games marked as private by the original owner. Games that are currently excluded from family sharing will continue to be excluded from sharing in Steam families. That includes games that require an additional third-party account or subscription. So there's that.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So Jesus, I know Mayo just stepped away for a minute, but I was thinking. So I'm curious as I guess it's more intuitive as to the way we actually do it right now, which is kind of where we kind of trade accounts. Not trade, but we sign into each other's accounts, and then we can have share libraries. So this one's probably just more official. It seems that's the way what it sounds to me. I was kind of just messing around in there today earlier, but I think there's been a few changes in there as far as like who you authorize to actually use your library. So yeah, we kind of already do this already, but I guess now we don't have to actually have each other's logins and emails and stuff. You can just authorize probably just someone through your friends library or through your friends. But I didn't actually see any of those options, just the people I've already shared my library with, or they've shared their library with me. So a little complicated for me, Blaze, like just being on the Xbox, but not doing too much co-op on Steam.
Yeah, I don't really use Steam a whole lot, so it wouldn't be for me. But I mean, it's great for everyone that does.
Yeah, another great feature, Blaze, that they have, like it's not part of this, but it's what is it called? It's where you can kind of. I'm thinking like Jackbox Party is another great example, which we've kind of played, or another game called Blaze It Up or something like that. I know I played with Mayo, and he could probably explain it a little better. Mayo, what's that feature on Steam where you kind of play it, but we don't actually have to download the game? I think where you stream it and we also play.
I don't remember what the wording was, but it's like a co-op play for like any kind of co-op player game. It's like a couch co-op mode almost, kind of like.
Yeah. And
so
it's a little laggy.
It would stream the game to you, but you would have control, and you could both play a 2-player game at the same time.
Or 4 or 6.
It's not like a like couch co-op as in like split screen kind of game or like 2 characters. A good one I tried it on was Overcooked.
Yeah, it was Overcooked too. That's what we played.
Yeah. I can't remember what they called it. I haven't done it in a long time. I think that's probably the last time I tried it. But yeah, that's kind of a neat little feature.
Yeah, if I remember, Mayo, I believe we're kind of using your like network basically, right, to kind of play because there was like that lag time in there.
Yeah, I think it used my upload because I would upload and then you'd use your download.
Yeah, so a cool feature. But what do you think of this new thing, Mayo? It's not much different than the way we've been doing it, just a little more easier to use.
Yeah, I hope. I mean,
without sharing passwords.
The Steam share has been kind of difficult at times. Like there's times where like games wouldn't work. I've had times with Ryan where it took us a little while to figure out how to get it working, and sometimes they would show up, and sometimes the games wouldn't show up. Hopefully they have like a more consistent version of it, where it works a little better that way now. So because it does sound like they're not changing much, with the exception of the whole like I heard like Jesus say like like somebody was doing something wrong and they get banned, it bans your game too. That's kind of crappy because I think the way it's designed now is like if I share a game with say like my son and he's playing it over at his mom's, his save and everything is all linked to his profile. So even
Right.
though he's
Yeah.
playing my game, if he would get a ban, I think it goes to only his profile. I could be wrong. I don't know because he doesn't do anything to get banned. But if that would be the case, I think it would be just his profile the way it's set up now. Because I know all the
Yeah.
achievements and all that kind of stuff, it works to where it only goes to his profile or his save and everything. Because he can come back in, say he's borrowing one of the games and playing on his computer at his mom's, and he comes back to my place, logs into his Steam account, it uses the cloud save. It has the same exact save points where he had before at his mom's. Where I've had some games before, like it's on the same computer, even though you're like sharing, it would load the same save no matter what. So you had to be careful about like how you were playing it. So like
Oh, almost like a cloud save or something
yeah,
from you. Yeah.
it did a local save, so it just look at your computer. So if I was playing a game, it's been a while now, but if it, say something older, and I like almost beat it or whatever, when he would load into the game, even though it was under his profile, it would find my save file and just want to load that automatically. So he'd be like to the point where I was at, and then if he wanted to start over, he would have to reset my progress so he could start over. That was like only in older games. That was early on. But when they did it by split profiles, it was kind of nice because then his profile save is completely different, from mine. But
Yeah. I think most use kind of that cloud play now, well, you
yeah.
have that choice, right? You can use local. Now it's an option.
And then the games, that typically don't work with Steam sharing are usually like these live service type games or like Call of Duty is one of them. Where you got to log into another party, like you got to log into something on EA with another account or something like that. Some of those games don't work, and I'm trying to remember. There's like one or two I had that I thought I was like, oh man, that doesn't work. What was Pal World was one of those games actually. Pal World does not Steam share. So I remember when I got that, I was going to let somebody use my library and play because they wanted to stream it. And so I gave them access to my library, and come to find out they could not still play it because it was not Steam shareable.
Yeah.
And that's like Jesus said, it's up to the developer, not to who wants to do it or not. Even though most of them do.
Yeah. In other news, PlayStation. Okay. Oh, well, what the hell? This article is not available. What the fuck, Gunny?
Which one?
PlayStation no longer available.
Well,
Oh, Mayo. That's Mayo. That's Mayo.
that article, Mayo. After
got-
producing in excess of 2 million units of its latest virtual reality headset, Bloomberg is now reporting that Sony is hitting pause on production to try and shift their unsold inventory. The PSVR 2 launched last February for $549 as an accessory for the PS5. But IDC data suggests that shipments have declined each quarter since. Bloomberg suggests that the problem is a lack of content for the headset. The PSVR 2 is compatible with a handful of AAA games, including Horizon, Call of the Mountain, Gran Turismo 7, and entries in the Resident Evil series, as well as a range of smaller titles. But at $549, the headset costs more than the PS5 itself, so expectations are pretty high. So yeah.
We got to start seeing these
So
things discounted pretty soon, do you think?
says here, Sony's recent layoffs impacted teams that have worked on VR titles as well. They closed its London studio, and the developer behind Horizon Call of the Mountain, Fire Sprite Studio, was also impacted. So, yeah,
So maybe we'll
I
see
think
those
so.
headsets coming down to 300.
I
No,
think, yeah, I just don't think it took off like they hoped it would,
I think they're going to
It's,
be around, I think maybe 500, 450, maybe.
Yeah, probably by this summer.
It's just expensive, man. It really is.
it is,
Yeah.
yes.
Like,
When they don't have like a lot of the games, the library for the games.
Well, and it makes sense too. 'Cause, I mean, if your options are buying the VR headset or buying a PS5, you're going to buy the PS5. So,
yeah.
Yeah.
I
Well,
mean,
but then you need the games. Actually, you need the actual games to
Right.
be flowing a little bit, right? At least 3 AAAs a year, I would say, for that to.
right. That's kind of what I'm saying. Is like at the price point it's at, they're competing with other consoles, and there's not enough on there to compete with the Xbox, the PlayStation, or the Nintendo. If because a lot of consumers, they're not going to be buying, okay, let me buy the VR headset, let me buy the Xbox, let me buy the Nintendo. There's not a lot of people that are buying everything. So if your options are only one or only two, it doesn't really stack up. Like if the price point was say like, $100 or $200, a lot more people will buy it, but they have to get the price point down.
Yeah.
Yeah, just
And the
unfortunately,
games.
I don't think it's gonna really do all that well much more. How much time do you give this Jesus before it's done?
Another year.
'Cause, yeah, right now I don't feel like I hear much about it except for bad news.
No.
Like
Unless we start hearing like some crazy games coming out for it, like some updates. I don't
yeah,
think
I mean,
it'll.
I remember when the first PSVR came out, like we heard about it a lot more, and that didn't even really do all that great, really. I mean, like we kind of thought it would kind of a step, and like down the road they were going to be better and all this kind of stuff. But as VR just kind of like died down significantly. It just seems to be like too little, too late from there. Like I don't even know if the Apple VR headset will be such a knockout. Like it's been out for a little while, and I haven't seen too many people with that or too
Yeah.
many people talking about that in the gaming community. I know
Well, it's
people are
not, and
excited for it, and
they make it very clear, like this is not a gaming headset. Like, yeah,
right,
right.
and
That's
that price
even though
point,
you can play games in it, right, that are on the iOS store, but yeah, they make it very clear this is for the office. This is for work at home, and yeah, basically, yeah, not made for gaming. But what
Yeah,
about
I mean, they'd never do this, but like if I was them, what I would do to kind of, save the headset and kind of recoup some of your costs, I would try to have some kind of like rental service where, you pay like a monthly fee, they send you one to rent, and then you send it back at the end of the month or something if you don't want to keep it anymore. But at least that would give them some funds back and plus people might just end up buying it because then they're at least going to get to try it. But not many people are going to pay $500 up front when they can't even try it. So at least if they have like a rental service, then they could probably make that work a little bit better.
and I
yeah,
think they
that
did that
entry
with
is
the
so
first
steep
one.
too.
No, they didn't.
Yeah. No, didn't they do that with the first one? The first
No.
PSVR at Best Buy?
I don't think
No.
so.
Yeah, I believe they did. That's why I actually bought one. And then I ended up
No.
selling it because after I played all the games on it that were exclusive to the PS4 Pro or PS4 in general.
In other news, AI, it's already being used by 62% of studios, a Unity report claims. So, yeah. 62% of studios are using AI at some point during their game development, according to a new report by game engine maker Unity, which reveals that more and more development studios are adopting AI tools to make time and efficiency savings. In 2022, the average time to launch a game was 218 days. Now it's 304, the report states. 71% of studios responding to the survey said AI had improved their delivery and operations to reduce the time to launch. So, one of the main reasons AI is being used for is to improve character animations, followed by writing code or speed up that process. Also, shorten time spent prototyping. Yeah.
And they continue to have the growth of the AI and continue to have lots of layoffs.
Yeah. And
Yeah. I'll say this, guys. The earlier last week, the wife comes up to me and she's an apartment manager. So she works a lot in a lot of stuff in computer, but she goes, I use this thing to write the email to like the tenants, before it auto generates and sends it to everybody who's signed up. She goes, it has this thing on there. It's an AI thing, and it pretty much wrote the whole email for me. So what would have taken me like 20 minutes to make sure that, I have all the dates correct and, the wording is correct before I send this out to everybody. It had kind of done so much for me. Have you ever heard of this thing? And I'm like, we talk about it every week on the podcast. Like, yeah, I said, it's a thing. Like
Yeah, right.
it's kind of everywhere. Like I use the Copilot on Microsoft, just kind of mess around with it. So
yeah.
it's in our lives now, guys. Taking
I'm
over.
curious what it's going to do to the industry eventually. Like how much of it's going to be AI, how much of it's going to be actual people working on the games.
I've already said
Yeah.
it. I've already said it to Jesus. I think it's going to be like one of the things I'm already dreading. Well, not so much me, but maybe with like, when you have to make those phone calls, right? You have to make those phone calls to change your account, whether it's your cable or your electric or your credit card or I don't know, stuff at work, even like, you got to call in. You're just going to be talking to an AI, I think, that's going to suck. You want to speak to an actual human about your account, but No, they won't let you. It's going to be all AI where we're going.
In other news, we wanted more news here. Our next Battlefield director, Battlefield game director Marcus Leto doesn't have anything positive to say about EA after departing from the publisher's Ridgeline Games earlier this year. Also known for being a co-creator of the original Halo while at Bungie, Marcus left EA and Ridgeline just as EA announced it was cutting 5% of their workforce alongside a full closure of that studio. Ridgeline Games was formally revealed in 2022, with Leto set to lead the development of a single-player Battlefield game following Battlefield 2042, with fellow EA studio Ripple Effect working on a bigger Battlefield project. Leto left EA and the FPS game earlier this year, right as EA laid off 5% of their workforce, or around 670 people. These layoffs also resulted in the closure of Ridgeline Games, with the single-player Battlefield experience moving over to Criterion. After saying he left EA on my own accord back in February of 2024, Leto has now released another short statement on his departure. He said, quote, "I've not been saying much here since I don't have anything positive to say about EA, my recent departure, and how so many, including my team, are suffering due to the industry sweeping layoffs." End quote. This follows another statement from February when Leto said he was gut-punched to see EA lay off his whole team, so many very talented devs who were incredibly valuable to the Battlefield franchise. It says here, after Battlefield 2042, EA was looking to reinvigorate their multiplayer FPS series with a Ridgeline single-player experience and the full Battlefield from Ripple Effect. Multiple EA mobile games will cease active development alongside the in-development Star Wars FPS alongside all these layoffs. This Star Wars FPS was rumored to be based on The Mandalorian. So EA is closing a bunch of fucking shit down. They're firing people. They closed down Ridgeline Studios, which they just opened in 2022.
Yeah.
And who knows what they're doing now with Battlefield. Criterion apparently is now making their single-player experience. Fuck. Who knows, man? What's going to happen over there? What's going to happen to Battlefield?
Right.
Yeah. What's the future of Battlefield?
I don't think they know what to do with it, man. I honestly think that they should just remaster Battlefield 4, but they're too stupid.
You know what, Jesus? I'll say I don't have anything good to say about EA. Okay.
Whoa,
Yeah.
God.
They're gonna close
to
the
be
studios.
honest, like, when's the last time anyone had anything good to say about EA?
Yeah.
Like, I think even the EA knows they're bad. So,
Yeah. Good at microtransactions. That's for sure.
they are the world leader in that. Yes. At least they're
Another
going to win.
news. Move on to more news here. Well. Okay. Wow. So what is this? This is a group of people that are trying to. So Gamergate happened back in 2014. You remember that when it was like targeted against women who were speaking out against misogyny, and people were saying like, "Oh, these people are being fired and they're being targeted by the fucking companies because they're speaking out."
I vaguely remember that.
Apparently, there's a new group of people that are trying to make it to where people can complain about these things in like Discord or whatever. So yeah, there's like a new group out there. This is a whole long article. I would have had to read this before to know what the hell I'm talking about. It's too long to read the whole fucking thing, and yeah, I don't want to read it. So more news here. Embracer reportedly set to sell Star Wars KOTOR remake dev Saber Interactive in a $500 million deal. That's right. Last month, we learned that the Embracer Group, the company behind the closure of Saints Row Studio Volition Games and layoffs at companies like Black Forest Games and Eidos Montreal, was reportedly set to sell Star Wars Knight of the Old Republic remake developer Saber Interactive. That deal apparently carried with it a $500 million price tag. Now it's official. Embracer has sold off Saber Interactive to a group of private investors under Beacon Interactive, as reported by Video Games Chronicle. Beacon Interactive is controlled by Saber Interactive co-founder Matthew Karch, the publication reports. So, Embracer sold Saber Interactive to Beacon Interactive for $247 million. But there is an option for the former to bring Metro Series developer 4A Games and Pinball Effects developer Zen Studios with it as well, increasing the price tag to about $500 million. According to Bloomberg, Karch and Saber Interactive have decided to enact that option, so they will be bringing 4A Games and Pinball Effects out of Embracer and with them over to Beacon Interactive. So it says here, today, through a company we formed called Beacon Interactive, we have now agreed to buy back the rights to Saber and all of its worldwide studios and include exclusive contractor relationships. Madhead, Digic, Nimble Giant, Fractured Byte, Splygate, 3D Realms, New World Interactive, SPL, Stuntworks, Bytex, 4A, and Zen through options, totaling over 3,000 developers around the world. We have decided precisely on these studios for acquisition because we believe they represent the best of what Saber is and can be. This group compromises some of the most talented and creative developers in the world. Our track record, and more importantly, the projects we have in development speak volumes of our capabilities. I truly believe that we currently have the best game collection of game developers in the industry, thanks to all of you, wrote Karch, who
Nice.
is a owner of
I
this.
remember good old Saber Interactive. I didn't even know Embracer had them for this long time. Yeah, so I guess they're back.
There's your, despite 4A Games going with Saber Interactive, Embracer says their license and publishing rights to current and future games on PC and console in the Metro series are still held by Embracer. So there's that. I am pleased that we have found a win-win solution for Embracer and the parts of Saber that will now leave us, Embracer CEO Lars Windfors wrote in a statement. This transaction puts both companies in a stronger position to thrive going forward. Embracer is now able to discontinue all operations in Russia, according to a previous board decision, while safeguarding many developer jobs under the new independent ownership. At the same time, we keep key companies, valuable IPs, and future publishing rights. So, yeah. It says here, Tuxedo Labs, the studio behind Teardown, released a statement following the deal to discuss their future as a studio who were previously controlled by Saber Interactive, who are now under the Embracer umbrella. The team says this is a big change and it gives us a full creative control with a heightened sense of independence and creative liberty. Saber will continue to aid us in Teardown's future development, though. And yeah, so it looks like Embracer got rid of these studios, and now they're owned by another company that's part of the same company, and yeah, so we'll see what happens.
Just a lot of big money exchanging hands, right?
Well, yeah, but they're now not under the Embracer umbrella, so Embracer doesn't really get to tell them what to do.
Yeah.
Or you're going to get fired, or
right, or what to make, and this is how much time you've got to make the next game. Yeah.
And we're going to shut down your fucking studio for this shit.
You're going to get no. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. In other news, and more news, okay, Mr. Beast, one of the most popular content creators in the world, will be producing and hosting one of the most lucrative game shows in history on Amazon Prime Video. Beast Games, Mayo, will feature a $5 million prize for the winner, which Amazon claims to be the biggest single prize awarded in television history. Jimmy Donaldson, aka Mr. Beast, is a YouTuber with one of the biggest channels on the platform with over 240 million subscribers. Mr. Beast became famous for his large giveaways and contests. His 2021 Skid Games inspired series on YouTube currently sits at over 588 million views. This success has helped him grow his empire, and he now sells terrible burgers. So there's that, and candy bars, and whatever.
Hey, I've had the candy bars. They're actually pretty good.
Mr. Beast Games will be a large-scale reality competition on Amazon Prime Video. It will feature 1,000 contestants competing for a single $5 million cash prize. Amazon says the biggest prize awarded in TV or streaming history, so there's that. And Mr. Beast is getting $100 million from Amazon for producing the series.
Damn.
So that's a good chunk of change.
Yeah.
He's getting paid quite a bit to give away $5 million.
It must be a rough job he's got.
So hard.
I mean, I'll give away $5 million if you want to pay me that much.
Yeah, right. You give me $100 million, I have to give away only 5? Fuck yeah, give me the money,
I'll
dude.
take that.
Yeah, no shit. Like, that's a pretty good fucking offer. Hey, Mayo, I'm gonna give you $1,000, but you have to give away $5 to someone. Okay, that's the
Okay.
rules. That's the rules, Mayo. Okay, you have to give away $5.
Hey, Gunny, you
I
want
know it's
$5?
I'll take it. Yeah. I'll take it if you give me $500 off to the
crazy,
side.
dude. That's a lot of money, man. Like, but hey, Mr. Beast, from all the things that we've heard, he's a pretty good guy, right?
Is he? I hope he is. I don't
Seems.
know. I just don't know. Like I don't know if he's good or bad. I because I don't subscribe
know
to him.
what's
I don't
bad.
really. I just see
never-
like something. But
I've never heard him being like an asshole to people or like being like a bad guy. Like I don't know. Maybe he is a bad guy.
no, I don't. I'm just referring to like. I know we talked about this the last time where like his YouTube videos. Like I think there was like okay, for example, like when the way he. But every YouTuber does it. You know when they name their YouTube actual like videos, right? Where he's like, I cured cancer or I cured, fucking blindness for 500,000 people in Africa or something. And maybe he does do some good, like I just don't know. So I'm not sure if it's actually true or, what he did to, help the people in other countries or just whatever ailments they might have. So I don't know.
Right.
I don't have enough proof, to see. So, or if is it all for show? I just don't. I have no idea. I don't want to say anything bad about him because I just don't know enough. But I do want to try his burger joint. So I know my kid does, right? Because he's
I
young.
know that
and-
they have them around here, but it's not really like a place you go to. You have to like order it online, and it's like through like you go somewhere else, like you go to like a Red Robin and you pick it up. It's like a ghost kitchen almost, like where like they don't have like locations. They just kind of like pay other restaurants to make it for them.
oh, okay.
Yeah,
And
I
you
think there's
go
something
there.
like that here in Columbus. I think I talked to somebody that had one, and it was from some other restaurant.
Yeah, like they don't have actual locations. It's all ghost kitchens or whatever. Because like I've seen it before. Like buy a whatever the fuck they're called, Mr. Beast Burger or whatever the fuck. But like it was like go pick it up at Red Robin. It's like okay, why the fuck?
Yeah.
Right.
Why wouldn't I just buy a Red Robin hamburger? Like what the fuck?
Right.
Like what am I doing? What the fuck you mean? Like if I go
It's
pick it up at
30%
Red
of that
Robin?
sale. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's that. Let's see here. Speaking of that, one more news. More news here. Helldivers 2. While most Helldivers 2 players are busy fending off the Terminids and the automatons, some believe they have seen evidence that a third faction, Mayo, called the
Oh, there we
Illuminate,
go.
are on their way.
I thought it was
Players of-
Illuminati, but it is Illuminate.
I think so. Players of the first Helldiver games will be familiar with the Illuminates, an ancient and technologically advanced alien civilization, hell-bent on destroying Super Earth. Now with Helldivers 2 out over a month, players have reported seeing odd blue lasers that cause damage if they hit. Redditor Die335 reported a vibrant blue laser shot and knocked him down to around 60% health points. It must have been an Illuminate sniper, just like the first game, and it must have teleported out immediately after the shot. I wish I was screen recording at the time or had anything like that set up. Other players have provided footage showing this blue laser sniper shot. The arrival of the Illuminate wouldn't come much as a surprise given models for the faction have leaked, and there's even an in-game news broadcast on your ship that speaks of rumors of Illuminate sightings. Arrowhead CEO John and Pilistad tweeted to deny the existence of the mysterious blue beams in typical in-universe fashion, saying, "Blue beams aren't real. It can't hurt you." Of course. Okay. So there's
He's
that.
in denial.
So, I think so that it'll be that. Good night. Anyways, more of the news. Helldivers 2 is estimated to have sold 8 million copies, analysts say. So there's that.
Good for them.
8 million copies, Gunny.
That's pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
That's
quite a few.
fucking pretty.
I wonder what the breakdown now is on PC versus versus PlayStation.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. I'd be curious to know what's the.
I think it's like 5
How many
million, 3
per-
million, maybe 6.2. What do you think, Jesus? I know it's done better on PC.
I don't know. Maybe
I'm gonna say
60 to 40.
5 mil on the PC and 3 on the PlayStation 5.
But definitely can't be regretting putting it on PC, you know? Do you think that guy that made that decision is making out right now? They're probably like, thank God we listened to him.
Right.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. And I'm sure Sony was like, why do you want to do that? Like, no, keep it on the PlayStation 5. We'll pay you. No, it's okay. We're going to see how we fare out on the PC as well. Right. Seeing how it's not a PlayStation studio. So whenever they sign that contract, right, to say, fine, then just leave it off the Xbox. Okay. Click that box and sign away. I think they did it. Yeah. They did it right.
Let's see here. More news if we can find anything else. Still more news. Still more news. All the news are done.
One more, Jesus. One more. One more at the bottom.
Oh, one more?
It's not good news.
Oh, wow, another one, huh? Okay. Let's talk about it.
It's not good.
Okay. Word song developer. Word song. WYRD song developer. Something Wicked Games has reportedly been gutted by way of layoffs impacting most of the studio staff. The news was shared by senior animator Eric Webb on LinkedIn and via Game Developer in a post indicating widespread change of the studio. He said, heartbreaking news today as Something Wicked Games has had to lay off most of their staff. As someone who has been in the industry for nearly 25 years, I understand the challenges of finding a new position during these tough times. As noted by Game Developer, a range of other staff have also taken to social media to share their disappointment. Confirming Webb's report, programmer Andrew Wolosson and writer Jessica Slenwitsky are among those laid off. At this stage, it is difficult to know what the future of Something Wicked Games hold. The studio was only founded in 2022, and there was much excitement about their debut project Word Song. Early trailers teased a preternatural RPG set in Portugal, inspired by the occult. Okay. So there's that. So it says here the team. So yeah, it says here the team called Something Wicked Games is the developer. Had about 38 employees, and a bunch of them got fired. So I don't know what's going on. More people getting laid off.
Yeah, layoffs are not good. Hopefully they can find new work.
How do they come up with these layoffs? Like, is it the publisher? Is it them not giving them money? Is it the fucking developer saying like, oh, well, I guess we spent too much money buying these 4090 Ti's to make this game. Like, I guess we don't have enough money, Mayo. We bought you a cool 4090 Ti, but you're getting fired now because we can afford to pay you. Like, how does that work? What
How does it work, Mayo? Why is it happening? Why is it happening, Blaze? Tell us.
What's going on? Like, what are they spending all their money on? Are they spending it on hiring random people, like useless people? Like, oh, okay, you guys wanted to be inclusive, so we hired all these blue-haired people to stand around, and the blue-haired people wanted more money, so we paid them more money, and now we can't afford to pay everyone else.
And they all wanted to form a union too, right? They all formed a union.
Goddamn union fuckers.
So before they can actually join the union, we terminated every position. That's probably why. I don't know. Liquidity of the market, whatever the hell that means. I've heard the possibility of overhiring during the COVID lockdowns and all that.
Well, yeah, I think
I don't remember there being like a.
So during the boom of COVID, when they're like probably trying to pump out more games to get more stuff out there because more people were staying home, that gaming was kind of at a high right there for a minute. That they want to try to get as much out as they could, and I think now it's just like there's too many. Their studios are getting too big, or too many people, and they're just trying to cut.
They're trying to trim the fat, are they? Is that what it is?
Yeah.
I don't know. I say keep them on and make more games, right? When you make more games, you make more money. But what do I know? I'm just a truck driver guy who plays video games.
Maybe if you actually sell your games and not everyone just plays them on Game Pass. If everyone just plays their games on Game Pass, then how are they making their money?
Come on, I'm sure Microsoft's paying them. Well, maybe not in the case of
Microsoft is paying them, but how much does Microsoft actually pay them versus how much could they have made? where they
That's
just
the
sold
secret,
those
right?
copies.
That's the secret we don't know. It's a
That
very
is the
tightly
secret
kept
we
secret.
don't know. That's a secret that Phil Spencer knows because
Yeah.
there's someone out there that can bring those numbers up, right? They can prove
Mhm.
how many people actually would have paid to play Fallout or Starfield on an Xbox versus how many people actually played it via Game Pass and how many people actually just bought it versus would they have made way more money had they just sold it and not even put it on Game Pass? If they would have just said, no, we're just going to sell it and not even put it on Game Pass, do they make more money that way? That's what I'm
Yeah.
wondering what's going to happen with the entire Activision merger, right? You have Call of Duty, dude, the biggest selling game of every year almost, right? But now you're saying it's going to be on Game Pass.
Well, I think
How much-
initially he said
how much-
no, maybe not. That's his goal.
But how much money do you offer Activision as a developer to tell them, hey, we own you, and we could just tell you to do this, but we're going to give you money because you made the game, right? So we're going to give you this much money to because your game is going on Game Pass. But now you're losing all this money on Xbox because we're cutting, say, instead of selling 100% on Xbox, you will only sell 25% because 75% are going to be playing it on Game Pass.
Yeah.
I mean, how do those numbers work out? You know what I mean? But we're only paying you 30% of all that. Like, how do these developers weigh those numbers? You know what I mean? Like when think you're making a game and you plan to sell $20 million worth of this game, and you're thinking to yourself, we're gonna make $20 million. We predict we're gonna make $20 million off of this game to sell it. And then Sony and Microsoft come to you and they're like, hey, we got Game Pass and we got PS Plus Premium Pass plus. And you're like, okay. And they're like, okay, we'll give you $2 million right now to sign this deal. And it's right now. You give me the money right now, but this game's coming to our thing. Do you take that as a developer and say, oh, fuck it, we don't think we'll sell 2 million on there, but we'll just take it, and hopefully we make more money by them paying us up front, not by us releasing it. But what if it would have been the opposite? And yet, do you ever know that? Did Microsoft ever come back to these developers and publishers and say, hey, yeah, about that game, right? Remember that game you made and that you wanted to make Mayo and that it was called I Am Super Mayo, and we put it on Game Pass and we gave you like $1 million to put it on Game Pass?
Right? Kind of like my
Well,
name is Mayo.
turns out that's like our biggest game on Game Pass right now. And if you would have just sold it,
Yeah.
and you would have sold all these copies, you would have made like $20 million, but instead you just made $1 million. But
Mhm.
also the catch is also would as many people have tried it had it
True.
not been on Game Pass. So that's the downside also. Like, so I don't know, like how do these numbers track and who has this? Microsoft has this information, obviously, but I wonder if they would ever release it. I don't think they will because it doesn't benefit them, right? To release the information.
Yeah,
doesn't
they're not
make
going to
sense.
release it. It's going to be something that I think that's going to be, years from now when there is no Game Pass, right? Like, unfortunately, it'll come to an end. I hope I don't
Think
see
of
that day. But
Helldivers 2. If Helldivers 2 would have been on that PlayStation Premium plus shit, how many copies would it have sold?
oh gosh,
Would we
well,
be saying,
yeah.
oh, it sold 8 million copies?
probably
Or would I
2
be
million
saying,
or it would have sold well, you know what, Jesus, well, maybe it would have sold more than, no, I guess it would have sold the 5 million on PC, right? And then only 500,000 on PlayStation, maybe more, who knows?
Helldivers has only sold 4 million copies.
Oh, you're talking about if it only came
Instead
to
of-
the PS Plus,
Yeah.
right?
If it came to PS Plus, well, if it came on PlayStation, but they added it to their PS Plus, more people are going to play it via PS Plus than anything else. Because you need PS Plus to play online games. You need that to play Helldivers. So people already have PS Plus. If this game was added to the PS Plus membership, whatever the fuck it's called, how many copies of this game would have sold? Because right now we're saying it sold 8 million. Would it have sold 8 million or would it have sold 3 million or 1 million or 2 million? Because it's only sold on PC, really. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
I want to know what these numbers are and what, like, is it really benefiting? Like, are these developers and publishers really benefiting from being on Game Pass and these passes versus selling the game on their own and trying to do it their own way, like the old way? or is
Yeah,
this stuff,
unfortunately.
or is this stuff really beneficial to these
Right. I don't think we're ever
developers?
gonna know unless somebody leaks it. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
somebody
it's got to be a
disgruntled,
leak.
Yeah.
like some kind of disgruntled, CEO of some company that made a game, and it was on Game Pass, and they were like, "Oh, we lost this much money because it's on Game Pass," something like that. Or we think, I think that's the
Yeah,
only way we're gonna hear it. Then you're never gonna know how true it's gonna be because it's gonna be like a disgruntled employee or something like that.
I just wonder, yeah, like what are the numbers? Like who has these numbers, and how can it be proven that it actually benefits developers? Because people always talk about the benefits of Game Pass, right? Oh, well, developers benefit from Game Pass because Game Pass brings more people to look at your game because you have 20 million people looking at Game Pass and they might see your game and they might play it. But what if those 20 million could have been sales? You know?
Yeah.
What if you could have sold that amount of money because your game is that good? What if Power World wasn't on Game Pass? What if Power World would have just been released as an early access title on the Xbox without
Sold it.
Game Pass and they
Yeah.
sold it instead?
Right. Just sold it at the $39 mark.
How much more
I
money would
think
they have made? How much
I
money
think
did
it still would have
Xbox
been
pay them?
popular. Like, Game Pass allowed people to try it, but I think by word of mouth and watching people play it and stream and stuff like that, the game would have been popular anyways.
Yeah, that's
I
what I'm
think it would have
saying.
took off no matter what. It gave the people the opportunity to try it, but
But I think they kind of won. Like I would be a good example for that, right? Because I subscribed to Game Pass. I downloaded it and I really enjoyed it, and it got me to go buy it on Steam.
yeah, I did the same thing. So I played just a little bit of the Game Pass version. I just bought it on Steam because I knew it was a newer version and it seemed to play a little smoother. So, but yeah.
Hmm.
I mean, I think Game Pass has been proven to increase sales, but it depends on the game. Like, at least that's what they've told us, but it's hard to know for sure because we don't have access to data.
Yeah, like I want to know someone who really. I think when they're gonna figure that out is when Call of Duty comes to that shit, because that game sells every year, no matter what, a shitload of copies on all the platforms. But
Yep.
what happens when you now all of a sudden move it away from being sold on your platform to being on a subscription model and being sold? Like, how much is their sales going to be impacted? Because then Call of Duty can't come out and say, "Oh, we've made $2 billion in 36 hours," because they won't make their $2 billion in 36 hours. They will only make 1 billion because they only sold it on PlayStation. You know
But
what I
I'm
mean?
sure Call of Duty, though, like, Microsoft's paying them a boatload to have it on Game Pass, probably. But
Well, yeah, they paid 69 billion to have it on Game
Yeah.
Pass.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
right.
guess now they would kind of own it, right? So I haven't really super followed it, but I just remember seeing little statements back early on about when people actually asked Phil Spencer, like, so will Call of Duty actually be day one Game Pass? And he said, it is my goal to have it on Game Pass. So it's like, oh no. So maybe but now he said it is going to be on there. I don't know. So if anybody can answer that for me.
I Yeah, like what the fuck? I don't know, dude. I
Yeah,
mean,
I don't know either.
I mean, I would assume it's going to be.
Me too. I just made the assumption, right? Because I'm like, well, they own it, so it should be. We've got Diablo, but it's still not out yet. I think because the ink is still not dry. I think even on the whole, they're still fighting it or whatever. I don't know. Why is it? Why is it, guys? Like, why is Diablo and other games not actually on Game Pass right now? Even previous titles, isn't it just more of a simple click of a few buttons, right, to unlock those titles? I don't know.
There might be, like, contracts that, like, kind of prevent that at the
Oh
time,
yeah,
but
forgot about that.
so I know, like, for example, like Wasteland 3, even before Microsoft purchased that company, they were already contracted to put it on PlayStation. So Wasteland 3 was on PlayStation, but
Yeah.
obviously their
Okay.
next game might not.
Right. Or it might just seems the way that Microsoft, that's kind of what the way they're going, right? But of course, we're not putting anything super brand new, right? Anything that's like a few years old, like Sea of Thieves.
I heard Sea of Thieves actually might go to PlayStation, but I could be wrong.
No, it is. It's
It
like the
is.
Okay, it
number
is
one
okay.
pre-ordered game on PlayStation right now. I think Hi-Fi Rush came out today on PlayStation 5. So, and it's getting glowing reviews. I didn't actually see what the numbers are. That was one of the 4 games that went to PlayStation.
huh. In other news, Amid a larger discussion about DEI's influence on the video game industry, a person who has worked as a lawyer and producer within the industry for years ranted on Wednesday about how it was his job to purge certain people. Fans of beloved franchises across genres of entertainment had voiced frustration when they think movie studios and writers have adopted divisive identity politics or go woke. Some have put the blame on DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion, consulting companies that often work with movies, series, or video games in development and help write or influence their stories. In the video game industry, one consulting agency made headlines recently for being at the center of controversy over allegedly pushing diversity politics in certain video games. Sweet Baby Inc. describes itself as an inclusion-focused narrative and consultation company working toward diversifying and enriching the video game industry. On the video game digital distribution service Steam, over 250,000 gamers have followed a list called Sweet Baby Inc. Detected to alert them of like this company being used for that game, right? So like if they don't want to buy games being consulted by Sweet Baby Inc., they follow this list, and this list apparently just generates all the games that have been consulted by that company or whatever. Don McGowan is the former chief legal officer of the Pokemon Company, as well as a producer of the film Pokemon Detective Pikachu. In addition to having served general counsel and a producer for Bungie, the company behind Halo games, he wrote a long, now deleted thread about how his job in the industry was to purge assholes from gaming. He was responding to the consumer backlash against DEI consultancy companies like Sweet Baby Inc., calling anti-woke customers human garbage. McGowan wrote, this is what he wrote. He wrote, 20 years in games, 17 in the C-suite, so I am most suited to say these people blaming one consultancy for everything they don't like are again demonstrating they know nothing about the subject they purport to be discussing. They are sexist and racist. He retweeted a thread from Kotaku senior editor Elisa Mercante, who wrote about the Sweet Baby Inc. controversy. She appeared to claim people who followed the Sweet Baby Inc. detected list were engaged in a harassment campaign. Under the social media username Trans Kids are not a threat, leave them alone, McGowan argued that people who are upset with DEI messaging in games are loathed by the industry, stating it had been his job to get rid of them. And he said, and it never occurs to them that the reason nobody made games for them was because nobody wanted to make those kinds of games, he wrote. Nobody wants your money because no one wants you in their environment. Take it from someone whose job was to figure out ways to get rid of you. He continued, trust and safety departments exist to get assholes out of the gaming environment. You end up creating them to get rid of assholes because adult humans don't want to spend their leisure time with assholes. You're a gamergator. Fuck off, you goddamn child. McGowan touted his work for the Pokemon Company, noting, by the way, if you're fucking crying about the fact that I'm telling you to eat shit, think about why you're such a person that the producer of Detective Pikachu thinks you are human garbage, and maybe work on being less shitty. He appeared.
You mad, bro?
He appeared to later paraphrase philosopher Karl Popper's paradox of tolerance. He said, what's the odd rule about not showing tolerance to people who themselves are intolerant? That one. That's what you see in this thread, and my response is, no, I'm not interested in debating you. No, I don't care if you think I'm a bully. Get back in your fucking lockers. Since his rant on X, McGowan has made his account private and changed his username to, well, this place was fun while it lasted. And wrote in his bio, went out with the bang, but now I'm out. If you know me IRL, find me there. If you don't, then don't. So there's that. So this guy went on a rant kind of against people that were against this, like these companies, right? Like Sweet Baby Inc. People were saying like, what the fuck? Like Sweet Baby Inc. is fucking like, a company that they supplement games or whatever. But yeah. Apparently, the latest game that we're involved in was or one of their biggest games, and the latest game that we're involved in was
It's a Canadian company.
yeah, it was what's that game called? The Justice League game, whatever the fuck it's called.
Oh,
Kill
the
the
latest
Justice
one?
League.
The Suicide Squad game.
Yeah,
Suicide
Suicide
Yeah.
Squad. Yeah, that one. So they were involved with that, and people are mad at the company because they're blaming the failure of Suicide Squad on this company, which I don't think it's fair. I mean, I think this company is out there for a reason, right? Like, I do believe there has to be some inclusion in places, but like, I don't think it's all their fault the game didn't do that good.
It just wasn't that great from what I hear. So
Yeah. So I don't know.
Playable, it's not a 10, right? It's a 7.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. I mean,
Not everything has to be a 10.
and apparently the biggest controversy of it all is this whole Steam page has been created that all it does is put the games on the list that this company has consulted on. So like if you are really anti-woke, Mayo, you can go to this list on Steam and find it and not buy those games. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now I understand what the Sweet Baby Ink thing is. Okay.
Yeah,
Been hearing a lot of chatter on the X about it.
that's what it is.
So like basically they have a lot of stuff that's like non-woke games, and then there's other lists that have like woke games.
Yeah, so this list
Okay.
is for like games that this company has worked with. And this company apparently is like one of the woke companies. They get hired. Their job is to like make your story or your movie or your video game or your whatever the fuck you're making more inclusive. So they tell you like, oh, you need to add this, or maybe you should add that, or maybe you should add this and take that out and add that. And people are complaining that like this company is making gaming suck. So there's that. Yes. Another news. Power World only cost 1% of Star Citizen's current funding to make. 1%.
Hey,
Damn. I heard that game's coming to 1.0.
Yeah. In an interview with Bloomberg, Pocket Pair founder Takuro Misobe explained that his studio's hit was made for less than $6.7 million and by a team of 55 people. And
That's crazy.
Star Citizen, for instance, Mayo, has collected. They have collected $670,285,805.
That's all.
That's it. Not a lot of money for that little Star Citizen game.
Yeah, they
They'll
used
be-
to do free weekends. I haven't seen them lately. I think they only do them a few times a year.
They need more money to do the free weekends. They ran out of money. They need more
Sell some more
funding.
$1,000 ships, right?
$300,000 ship. What is the most expensive Star Citizen ship?
Yeah, because I saw one in there. It was 1,000 the last time I played it. It's kind of cool though. Like you can download it on a Thursday and play it through Sunday. It's like a free to play almost.
Oh wow! Look at this. Wow.
I mean, it's not, but still got to pay for the game.
So I'm looking at this. Star Citizen developer Cloud Imperial Games is releasing a ship bundle, Mayo.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Revealed on their website, the Legatus 2953 pack will arrive in the first quarter of this year, and it will cost you $48,000.
Whoa, real dollars, US dollars?
Yes.
Get the GTFO, man.
Listen, ahead of all others, this definitive armada is an equal match to the noble title of Legatus Navium, comprised of over 175 vessels from every manufacturer of note. This perfect collection, including all ships released and concepted through 2953, empowers every fleet commander to forge a lasting legacy, leading humanity towards a brighter future. Okay.
What do you think?
Says
Is this thing like one big Ponzi scheme or what? What's going on?
But
with this
listen.
fucking studio, man.
The Legatus, I know you want to buy this, Mayo. I know you're already looking at your bank account.
Oh,
$48.
I already have it pulled up right now. I'm already looking.
Let me tell you, you cannot buy it, Mayo. Okay? It's only available to members at a certain tier of Star Citizen's Chairman Club. This tier requires you to spend $10,000 on other purchases to be able to be part of this tier. Okay? So I know... So now, Mayo, you're gonna have to spend $58,000. I know you really wanted to spend that $48,000. Just add 10 more, Mayo. What's 10 more at this point?
And then Steam share it with me so I can play it.
Right, so we
for
get
free.
banned.
I'll ban you tomorrow
God.
if you buy that ship.
Oh, is this? This is insane. I'm looking at the page right now. $48,000 fucking dollars, dude.
Is that every ship or just the one armada? I mean, I guess an armada is like more than one ship.
You get 175 ships.
Okay, yeah, that's
And pretty much like an army. You could literally give a ship to everyone on your friends list and like have like a fucking army of spaceships flying with
fine.
you.
You know what? I'll pay $400. That's cool.
We're gonna get 175 people. See, if 170, okay, let's divide this. There's 175 ships, Mayo. Okay, $48,000. We'll divide that by 175. Each person pays $275.
It's not bad, but
It's
you
not
need a lot
bad.
of friends.
You need 175 friends that play this game to get
Jeez.
together and give the money
I'm
to
gonna get
one
on
person.
HGP Discord right now. All right,
Get in
everybody,
the
put in your money.
Listen, we need 175 Patreon people to get on and join the new
I
tier.
still own the ships, but you command it.
This is a situation that the PSVR could actually win. You know, you could buy a in-game ship in Starfield, or you could buy a
Yeah.
PSVR. They could win that one.
Right? Do some EVE Online. Bring that over to PS5.
This is nuts. But you get some pretty cool ships, dude. I mean, like the number one ship you get on here is the Javelin. Okay, the Javelin is designed by the UEE military. It's a massive modular capital ship. Okay, this thing has everything, man. It has computers, radar, fuel intakes, fuel tanks, weapons, turrets, missiles, everything, man. Everything you wanted, it's there. It has big hallways, big dorms. It has everything. So yeah, it has 5-man escape pods. Okay.
I'm sure there's a couple fools out there that are going to buy this.
Dude, I've played Star Citizen before, right? And like, I don't know, man. The game is okay, but like, I don't know how people spend all this money on this game that doesn't seem to ever be out of. It doesn't seem to be ever be out of like early access.
Right.
Yeah. They keep saying like 1.0 is coming. I think I saw some news yesterday about it.
I don't know, man. Like fucking.
But I don't know. I think even the multiplayer didn't look that much fun. I don't know. I think Brink said he had a good time with it. But every time I watch it on Twitch, I'm like, yeah, it doesn't look appealing to me. But I'm not the biggest multiplayer fan either when it comes to FPS.
In other news, Aspire Media is scrambling right now following the rough launch of Star Wars Battlefront Classic Collection, which is an HD port combo of the original Star Wars Battlefront and Star Wars Battlefront 2 on modern consoles and PC. They're working to address the issues and increase network stability. Shortly after the game's launch on March 14th, players across all platforms, but especially PC, experienced server issues, preventing them from getting into matches, as well as other connectivity issues like disconnects, rubber banding, and more once actually inside a match. The result was a wave of disappointment from players excited to play these classic multiplayer games. Now, Aspire has acknowledged the issues and is working to fix them. It says here, we'd like to thank the Battlefront community for their overwhelming support and feedback for the Star Wars Battlefront Classic Collection release. At launch, we have experienced critical errors with our networking infrastructure. The result was incredibly high ping, matchmaking errors, crashes, and servers not appearing in the browser. Since launch, we've been working to address these issues and increase network stability, and will continue our efforts until our network infrastructure is stabilized to prevent further outages. There's that. But in other news with this fucking Star Wars Battlefront fucking shit, all right, there's a modder, Mayo.
Okay.
Okay.
What do we mod?
This modder made a mod for the original Star Wars Battlefront, like the 2004 one or whatever the fuck, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Anyways, apparently this mod was used. Okay, it was used in this remake, and this person says that this mod is their mod. Like they're like, I made this mod. Like, what the fuck's going on here? I'm the one that made this, and
So they
Aspire
stole it?
Media. Yeah, Aspire Media never reached out to them. It never even gave him credit in the fucking credits, like in the credits. Never mentioned them. Nothing. They pretty much stole this person's mod and used it in the game to fucking release the game and make it better. You know what I mean? Like, what the fuck's up with that, dude?
That's messed up.
Like, Yeah.
Are they like trying to sue or anything? Or
Okay, right now, let's see here. Well, they released a statement saying the upcoming release of Star Wars Battlefront Classic Collection does not include any code or content that is taken from uncredited sources. Okay. To briefly explain, the mod was for a character called Asajj Ventress, a character that was originally exclusive to the original Xbox version of Battlefront 2. It says here, Lama Shai, Lama, the fuck do you pronounce that? Lama Shaman, that's a weird name. Later brought Ventress to PC by reskinning a pre-existing character to look like the DLC character, meaning her animations were the same as her original Xbox release. It's these mismatched animations that people caught onto in the trailer, and why Aspire had to put out a statement. But now that the game is out, it seems the mod was still being used, with Ventress not having her correct animations. Some players have reported that a patch has replaced its animations with ones made by Aspire, but it still caused frustration for them. And they said that they're the ones that made the mod, and they're not happy because apparently they used the mod to bring the character over, and then they kind of just like redid some animations on it or whatever. But originally, at launch, the mod was still active, and apparently they've patched it now. But kind of
yeah, the
crazy,
damage
right?
is already done. Yeah, like
Like they kind of fucked up there. They should have had that ready to go on day one. Like, who knows, dude? But yeah.
I mean, it seems like they're just fucking up left and right. I mean, like,
Right.
I don't. It seems like they haven't done anything right with the game at all. Like, I saw in one review that someone joked that like they changed, like their reviewer, they changed their name to Asper instead because they're ass.
To Asper. Oh shit. But that's all we have for news, really, man. Like, there's really not much else besides the PS5 leaks, which we know might be coming. Uh, Stardew had a new update which lets players drink mayonnaise. That's pretty appropriate for you, Mayo.
Right.
I know you've wanted to drink mayonnaise all the time in Stardew Valley, but it's here now and it's available for you. And that's really it. Oh, there's a new Xbox coming out, Gunny and Mayo. Okay.
Okay. What's this new
This
Xbox?
is a custom Fallout Xbox Series X controller and a Fort Knox vault. So there's that. You have to like follow and retweet Fallout Xbox sweepstakes for a chance to win this custom Xbox. And that's it.
I mean, the
Just one
chances
of
of
those.
winning that though are probably so slim, but it's
Right.
cool though.
It looks like a cool Xbox. It's like all custom. The console is custom. And the
I
controller
wish
you
they
can
did like more of the like custom ones that you could actually buy, like they used to do. So remember back in the day, they used to like in the Xbox 360 days, they used to come out with like, all right, here's this custom skin console, but you could actually buy them instead of like, okay, we only made one.
Yeah, the one was the one I always think of. Like, is there a Gears of War one? Right.
Yeah, because I
That one
remember
was good.
I used to have like the Modern Warfare 3 Xbox 360, like way back when. So, and they
Yeah.
had like custom sounds, like it sounded like a machine kind of powering up when
Oh
you
yeah, I
powered the
forgot they did
console on.
that. They had a
Yep.
Minecraft one as well.
Yes, I wish they still did consoles like that because these like giveaway ones are cool and all, but I mean, I would like one where you could actually buy like a cool version of a console that's like based on a franchise you like.
Yeah. Apparently, you can buy this controller that they're releasing with this thing, but you cannot buy the console. So if you want the controller, you can even make one on their design labs.
Okay, how much is the controller? Does it say?
I don't know. Nope, don't say.
At
I'm
least I might
looking
could buy
at
that though.
I'm looking at the controller right now on Design Labs. Starts at $70 for the
I mean,
base
that's not
controller.
horrible, I suppose, because a generic base controller is going to cost you like 40, 50. So
Yeah. It looks cool. It has like a little Vault Boy on there, and it has like a bunch of like how Vault Boy can do like everything. So he has like there's a bunch of Vault Boys like all around the controller design, like the skin of the controller. It's him like doing everything, like lifting weights, whatever, wearing this
right,
fucking radiation suit and all that shit. And then the controller itself is white. It has a gold D-pad and blue triggers and blue bumpers. It looks kind of cool. If you're a Fallout fan, I maybe look into this because it looks pretty cool for a Fallout controller. Well, that's all I have for news, gentlemen. Let's get out of here. Where can we find you guys?
You're gonna find me everywhere on PlayStation, Xbox, Discord, as the Mayo, over in Steam as well. Hanging out, playing some probably playing some Persona 3 Reloaded this week, and then I'm probably gonna check out the like I said, the Last of Us roguelike part of the game. And then I don't know what else I'll be doing this week. I'm gonna be dabbling around a little bit, but what about you, Blaze? Where are we gonna find you?
Yeah, for me, it's fairly easy. I'm basically Blaze Experience on all platforms. So you can find me on Discord, Blaze Experience 4489. You can find me on Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it, Blaze Experience. And my Twitch is also Blaze Experience, so twitch.tv/Blaze Experience. You can find me streaming there on Mondays, Wednesdays, Thursdays usually. And then eventually the podcast will be back up, just isn't back up yet.
And I threw a link in. I threw a link in the show notes if you guys are interested to his Twitch.
Appreciate it.
site.
Thank you.
So,
All right. And find me on everything that's Jesus Walkslot. I'll be playing Helldivers. I'm trying to get them pink fucking whatever the hell they are. They're called titanium or something. Some kind of resource that I need to get, but it's only 3 per match, and you got to make sure you extract with them because if you don't, then you're fucked. So it's really hard to get. But I would appreciate the help if anyone's playing. Find me and join me. And if you can't join me, message me and I'll leave and I'll join you. Or you can join me after the match is over or something. But I'll be doing that, and I'll be hopefully playing some Battlefield tomorrow, trying to get in on that. And I'll be doing that. So anyways, with that being said, you can also find Gunny over at Xbox on Gunny Chief, PlayStation, HGP_Gunny, and then on Twitter, whatever, Gunny Chief. And then, find him on Discord. Find us all on Discord. That is the easiest place to find us.
yeah,
So just go to Discord in the show notes and join that. And you can message us directly, get to us, whatever. You find us on fucking Discord. God damn it. On everything, I'm a Jesus Walkslot. That's literally on everything. Like everything, you just find me as that. Okay? So, with that being said, I'm out of here. Peace out, Brussels sprouts. We'll catch you on the next edition of the Horrible Gamers podcast. Hopefully, you got to listen to last week's episode. It was uploaded, updated, and then I had to delete it and update it again, and then delete it again, and then upload it again because Mayo couldn't find it, and Mayo still can't find it. So
it is not showing.
I don't know. I think Mayo broke this fucking thing.
But we'll see. Hopefully, we
goddamn hobo
It does show up on Podcast Addict. I can tell you that much.
Fucking Mayo's hobo podcast app he's using. Anyways, we're out of here, everyone. Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Yeah.